Divine Sword of the Douluo Spiritual Pearl. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Battle for Title. Wuhan Palace intervenes. The title sealing ceremony begins now. Thank you all guests for coming to witness it. For this title closing ceremony, Ning Fengxi specially invited a full-time host from the Xiandao Spirit Arena. This host's martial spirit is very interesting. It is actually a microphone. He is simply born to be a master of ceremonies. Now, please invite me. Your Majesty. The new titled Douluo Yin Yang will come forward. Ning Fengxi nodded to Yin Yang. Yin Yang understood and walked to the center of the hall. He saw lightning flashing all over his body, with 9 soul rings of yellow, purple, black, and black surrounding his body. Compared to testing the soul power, releasing the soul ring is much more straightforward. Huge pressure was coming, and strong contrasouls such as Hu Yansen, Tu Obayi, etc. all looked ugly. Facing the titled Douluo, these high-level contrasouls were not really strong, and they could barely hold on for 2 days. 3 moves are more than enough. The only ones who could remain completely calm at the scene were Chen Lin, Yu Yuanzhen and others who were also titled Douluo. However, you can still see a hint of envy on Yu Yuanzhen's face. He is the only one who supports his blue lightning Tyrannosaurus family. How he wishes he could have one more titled Douluo to help him share the burden. Looking at the 7 treasures glazed sect, there are 3 Douluo. No, it should be 4 Douluo. He made a special trip today, just for the 4th titled Douluo. Your Majesty, please announce your title now, the host said. Yin Yang looked at everyone and said loudly, my title is Thunder Eagle, Thunder Eagle Douluo, a decent title, which fits Yin Yang's martial spirit, is not too arrogant, and everyone feels it is very appropriate. Wait a minute. At this moment, a gloomy voice sounded outside the main hall. How can the title of Thunder Eagle show domineering power? I, Wuhan Palace, have thought of a better one for your Majesty, Thunder God Douluo. How does it feel, Ghost? Ning Fengxi looked at the visitor with an ugly face. Wuhan Palace was deliberately making enemies for his 7 treasure glazed sect. God of Thunder, a title that even Yu Yuanzhen would not dare to take. If Yin Yang chose this title, the first person he would not be able to accept would be the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus family that dominates the world with thunder and lightning. What a ploy to sow discord. Sect Master Ning, don't be surprised if I come uninvited, Ghost Douluo said with a sinister smile. Behind him, there were also Soul Fighter Lord Ira and 3 young people around the age of 15, 2 men and 1 woman. These 3 young people all had a look of arrogance on their faces, and even in this place where titled Douluo gathered, they could not hide their arrogance. Of course I'm not surprised. I originally thought that His Majesty the Pope and the elders of Wuhan Palace would have a lot of things to do. I won't bother you with the trivial matter of the title ceremony of the 7 treasures glazed sect. However, since His Majesty Ghost Douluo is here, Ning Fengxi sincerely welcome. Ning Fengxi said with a smile. As for what title I, Elder Yin Yang, should take, it should be decided by him. I won't bother Ghost Douluo to take the title. Haha, no, all the soul masters in the world are under the jurisdiction of my spirit hall. For such a big matter as the title Douluo title, our spirit hall should be involved. After all, although Elder Yin Yang is a member of the 7 treasures glazed sect, his name it will also be engraved into my Douluo Palace. The ghosts neared. In the main hall, the 2 sect masters Ning Fengxi and Yu Yuanzhen frowned. The spirit hall was too overbearing. Does it mean that, as long as they are soul masters, they must listen to the spirit hall's wishes? At this moment, Tianlin suddenly stepped forward and said with a smile, Uncle Ning, this senior ghost is actually right. We have indeed forgotten that the Wuhan Palace, as an organization that records all soul masters, is the same as the Literature and History Museum of the Xiandao Empire. The important thing is that we were careless. Hearing this, Yu Yuanzhen laughed and said, that's right Sect Master Ning, why don't you have a child who understands etiquette? The Wuhan Palace is as important to the mainland as the Museum of Literature and History is to an empire, but you still ignore it. You have really lost your reputation as a wise sect master. What? Master Jade said, is that I will once again apologize to GUI Douluo, and I will never forget it next time. With Ning Feng's his intelligence, how could he not understand the pronunciation of Chen Lin and Yu Yuansen's words, and immediately communicated with him. Yu Yuansen started singing along. The ghosts looked ugly. They actually said that the Wuhan Palace was equivalent to the Museum of Literature and History. What was the Museum of Literature and History for? It was used to record history when major events occurred in the empire. Apart from writing and taking notes every day, I have no real power at all. They have recorded the names of Shi and Dao emperors and marshals in the past, but can they still order these emperors and marshals? It is indeed the same as what Wu Hundian just said. Boy, I know you. You are Sword Douluo's disciple, right? You are very smart at a young age, but people who are too smart don't live long. Ghost Douluo suddenly stared at Tianlin, and a mental shock attacked him. And no one expected that GUI Mei would suddenly take action. His martial spirit was too weird. When he attacked, he had no visible substance. Even when he used his soul skills, there was only a ghost, but no soul ring. For a while, even Sword Douluo had no time to take action. However, since Tianlin dared to speak, he was naturally prepared. A grey-white light suddenly shot out from behind him and collided with Ghost Douluo's spiritual attack. When the two sides were in a stalemate, Tianlin's eyes flashed. Golden flames destroy souls. The powerful ultimate fire attached to the grey-white light, overwhelming the ghost in an instant. The ghost felt the danger and quickly chose to withdraw, but his spirit was still burned by the light in Tianlin's flame. Naturally, Tianlin's power could not achieve this level. The one who really took action was the person who emitted the grey light. Tianlin only attached the attribute of ultimate fire to the light. At this time, everyone could see that the glazed floor tiles that the light passed through had all turned into stone. There was only one trick that could do this. It's Medusa's gaze. Old poison, come out. The ghost roared angrily. Haha, old ghost, I didn't expect that you and Chuhuagwan were defeated by me not long ago, and we met again today. Why are you here to give me soul bones? A burst of green light flashed. Dugubo appeared behind Tianlin, as if teleporting. He had been here a long time ago, but because he hated the excitement, he was too lazy to show up. It was not until the ghost arrived that he chose to protect Tianlin secretly. The ghost's face was ferocious when he heard this. This old poisonous creature was too disrespectful to him. Although it was true, but he said it in front of a large public, which undoubtedly greatly damaged Wu Hundian's face. But GUI Mei swore an oath with his martial soul, and he couldn't go back on his word at all. Turning over with his left hand, he took out 2 prepared soul bones from the soul guide, and threw them over. Take it, and the matter between us will be cancelled. Seeing this scene, everyone knew that what Dugubo just said was true, and then they were surprised. Dugubo was the last among the titled Douluo. He could actually defeat the 2 major Douluo, Chu and Ghost Douluo. Could it be that he had some adventure recently that caused his strength to increase greatly? Chapter 77, taking the title as a bet. Wuhan Palace vs Qibao Glazed Sect. Dugubo took 2 soul bones and looked at them. One was a skull and the other was a left arm bone. The aura on them was not very strong, and the quality did not look very good. Dugubo had already expected this. How could Wuhan Palace give him precious soul bones, but that skull has a poison attribute? Is it specifically used to disgust Dugubo? Although it matches his attributes, Dugubo already owns the Medusa skull. The Medusa's gaze just now was a soul bone skill. Even if this poisoned soul bone was given to him, he would not be able to absorb it again. Dugubo didn't care. He couldn't use it. Why don't he leave it to his granddaughter? Seeing Dugubo get 2 soul bones in one breath, everyone present went crazy with jealousy. But there were so many titled Douluo present today. Give them a few more. I don't even dare to make any moves. Old ghost, when did you become so shameless? You actually attacked a child who was only 9 years old. The grudge between Dugubo and GUI Mei was offset by these 2 soul bones, but he still didn't like Wuhan Palace. I don't mind the loss of a few words at all. HMPH, I'm just testing him. As a titled Douluo, how can I really target a child? Jade Scale Douluo, since you have obtained the soul bone, please stop meddling in other people's business. This is ours. The matter between Wuhan Palace and Qibao Glazed Sect. Gui Mei said unhappily. He can't control it, but what about me? Gui Mei, if you don't give me an explanation today, I'll make you hate him on the spot. Chen Lin stood in front of Tianlin with murderous intent. The ghost's attack just now did not have murderous intent, and it should be mainly to teach him a lesson. But if he attacks in front of his master, do you think he is dead? I told you that I was just testing the genius of the 7 treasures glazed sect. Chen Lin, don't you think he is good? No big deal, I just apologize. Gui Mei was not afraid at all. Behind him was the spirit hall, the 7 treasures glazed sect. To attack him at this time is to seek death. Master, I'm fine, don't worry. Tianlin pulled Chen Lin's sleeve and shook his head at him. Although with Chen Lin's current strength, he could easily defeat Ghost Douluo. But this will also allow Wuhan Palace to attack the Qibao Glazed Sect openly and honestly. This is the so-called master's reputation. The current Qibao Glazed Sect cannot compete with the fully powerful Wuhan Palace. Chen Lin suppressed his anger. This time he stood beside Tianlin, fearing that the ghost would attack again. However, Gui Mei is not that stupid. Only by taking things by surprise can the greatest effect be achieved. Now that the other party is prepared, if he takes action again, he will only completely offend Chen Lin, which will outweigh the gains and losses. Okay, let's get back to the topic. I, the Wuhan Palace, have named Yunyang the god of thunder. Do you have any objections? This is the main purpose of his coming today, and he will not give in. Sect. Master Ning, Wuhan Palace has given Thundergod Crown such a domineering title. It would be rude of you not to thank the elders of Wuhan Palace. Hu Yanxin said with gloating. He must have firmly stood by Wuhan Palace. Over here, just accept it. What's the big deal? Tianlin said with a smile, and turned to look at Dugubo. Senior Debu, thank you for your life-saving grace just now. By the way, what is your title? Poison Douluo, or Jade Scale Douluo, Dubu. Bo immediately understood what Tianlin meant, showed a malicious smile and said loudly, of course I'm the Poison Douluo who dominates the world of poison. Jade Scale Douluo is a title given to Dugubo by the Wuhan Palace, but Dugubo doesn't admit it at all. He still prefers the Poison Douluo he chose. Basically, everyone in the world calls him Poison. The ghost secretly said something bad, and he was defeated by this brat again. His intention is very obvious. In your Douluo Hall in Wuhan City, it is up to you whether you want to record the God of Thunder or the Thunder Eagle. Anyway, we will call him Thunder Eagle Douluo. You're right, just accept it. Ghost, thank you for the title of God of Thunder. I, Thunder Eagle Douluo, would like to thank you. Yin Yang cupped his hand slightly. Congratulations. To Thunder Eagle Douluo, happy. To you, crowned Thunder Eagle, you. Yuansen and Shilei came forward to congratulate each other, and Wuhan Palace seemed to be performing a one-man show at this time. At this time, Yin Yang's situation is similar to that of Dugubo. You block yours, and we block ours. It's up to them what the world calls them. But in most cases, most people will still recognize the title Douluo chooses. Because that is the right, that title Douluo should have. On the contrary, people will be dissatisfied with the domineering Wuhan Palace because of this. Why do people pursue strength? Why don't they just seek freedom and do whatever they want? If they still listen to you when they reach the level of title Douluo, then what's the point of practicing? Damn, you brat. Ghost looked at Tianlin and wanted to tear him apart, but now that Sword Douluo was not leaving, he couldn't find any chance point. But at this moment, someone couldn't bear it any longer. A young man in fiery red armor stepped forward and shouted, "You actually dare to despise my Wuhan Palace? You are seeking death. Who are you?" Tianlin asked. "I am Yan, a disciple of Wuhan Palace. Now I challenge you to fight to the death. Do you dare to accept it?" It turns out that he is Yan, among the 3 people of the golden generation in the original work of Wu Handian. No wonder he is so arrogant. Then the other 2 should be Ziyu and Hulina. I am Ziyu, a disciple of Ghost Douluo. Do you dare to fight my soul? It will be a fight to the death. And I, His Majesty the Pope's disciple Hulina. Without waiting for Tianlin to ask, the 2 men introduced themselves. The 3 of them looked at Tianlin with great hatred. They regarded Wuhan Palace as their heaven, and anyone who dared to despise Wuhan Palace would be their undying enemy. Soul fighting usually involves sparring or fighting to the death. If Tianlin agrees, then even if they kill Tianlin on the field, others can't say anything. Ghost Douluo's mind changed. This was a good opportunity. He couldn't take action, but the juniors could. Sect Master Ning, how about we make a bet? What? Do you want to bet on? Ning Fengzi asked. The ghost sneered, as if his plan had succeeded. Haha, just bet on the right to be banned this time. Your Qibao Glazed Sect will send 3 people of the younger generation to fight against my 3 children from Wuhan Palace. If you win, the matter of the title will be sealed. We, Wuhan Palace, will no longer interfere. If we win, Yin Yang will announce his acceptance of the title of God of Thunder and announce it to the entire continent. Ning Fengzi was a little hesitant when he heard the words. He could see that the 3 boys and girls in front of him, although they were only around 15 years old, already had the strength of the 4th ring soul sect. Now there are no people of the same age group as them from the 7 treasures glazed sect. People are their opponents. Sect leader Ning, whether a force is strong or not, you can't just look at the present. The younger generation has the foundation. Don't you dare. Hu Yansan suddenly said in a strange and sinister tone. It's not that I don't dare, it's just that this bet is unfair. Tianlin secretly glanced at Ning Fengzi to reassure him, and then continued. Title Douluo has the right to get a title for himself. Wuhan Palace, it would be too much to deprive you of this right, so why don't you still want to do it with nothing? Then what do you want? Gui Mei didn't regard Tianlin as a child at this time. This guy was too scheming. Tianlin held out a finger and said, you must at least come up with 1 soul bone, and we don't want inferior goods. We will accept gem-like soul bones that are more than 10,000 years old and are used as bits. In addition, the only objects to fight to the death are I'm the only one, and the other 2 are fighting each other. How about it? Chapter 78, The Battle of Spiritual Power between Tianlin and Hulina. 1000-year soul bones must also be limited to gemstones. Tianlin was able to open his mouth this time. Gem-type soul bones generally enhance spiritual power and are very suitable for auxiliary soul masters or battle soul masters who are good at mental attacks, charms, and illusions compared with ordinary soul bones. This kind is undoubtedly rarer. Okay, let's bet. We can get the gem-like soul bone. Hulina said before the ghost could say anything. She was a soul master who was good at charming, and Bibi Dong had already prepared several gem-like soul bones for her. Nana, the stakes are too high. This time it was the ghost's turn to hesitate. Hulina said confidently. Elder ghost, you fell into that kid's trick. He deliberately opened his mouth to prevent you from accepting this bet. With a few words to wake up the dreamer, the ghost suddenly understood that with the strength of Hulina and the other 3, there was no way that any one of the younger generation could be their opponent. Moreover, Hulina and Ziyu also had the best martial soul fusion skills. Once used, even the Soul King is no match for them. Okay, boy, we accept what you said, but I would like to add one more thing. The people you send must not be over 16 years old. To be on the safe side, Gui Mei added a condition. The 3 of you are all between 15 and 16 years old. They are in the same age group. It is not easy to find someone who can compete with them. Okay, Qibao Glazed Sect doesn't bother to bully the small with the big. Tianlin had no intention of sending anyone else to come to Ning Fengzi. Tianlin cupped his fists and said, Uncle Ning, please believe me, this time, I will definitely do it. Preserve the honor of the Qibao Glazed Sect and bring back the 10,000-year soul bone. Ning Fengzi patted Tianlin on the shoulder. Go ahead, uncle believes in you. Back then, Ning Fengzi was also a very passionate person. It was only after he succeeded the sect leader that he became more and more calculating. Now seeing the high-spirited Tianlin, he seemed to have returned to those days. Today, he is willing to take a gamble on Tianlin. The only thing that worried him was that Tianlin agreed to fight to the death, so that even if Wuhan Palace killed him on the spot, he would not be able to take revenge on the spot. Otherwise, it would give Wuhan Palace a reason to destroy the family justly. But he knew that Wuhan Palace, in addition to the Pope, there is another being that they cannot afford to offend at all. Ocean, Wuhan Palace has gone too far to bully others. I will fight side by side with you. Yu Xianheng walked to Xianlin and said, Xianheng, you are not from our Qibao Glazed Sect. Letting you go out to fight will not show the ability of our sect. Xianlin smiled, opened his hands, and said to everyone, dear guests, please stand by and watch. How do we, the younger generation of Qibao Glazed Sect, defend ourselves against powerful enemies? Rongrong, Guran, come with me to fight. I got it, Brother Jian. Yes, boss. Ning Rongrong and Guran stood firmly behind Xianlin. Xianlin's choice surprised everyone. He was just a 9-year-old child, but the teammates he chose were still a 9-year-old girl and a slightly older 13-year-old boy. This would be too underestimating the enemy. You must know that the opponent is not some wild guy, but the golden generation of Wuhan Palace. Only Chen Lin and Qibao trusted him immensely at this time. Go, Zhao, it's time to show your sword to the world. Haha, is the little monster about to show its fangs? Wuhan Palace, you are going to be in trouble this time. On the soul fighting stage, the golden generation looked at the 3 children who came up. Instead of being happy, they gritted their teeth angrily. The 3 Qibao Glazed Sect members looked down upon them at such young ages. What? A Qibao Glazed Sect? I'm going to kill these guys today. The most grumpy Yan was now showing his murderous intent. Rongrong, don't use your soul skills until I give you instructions later, you know? And Guran, you only need to be responsible for protecting Rongrong with all your strength. You don't have to do anything else. Xianlin said to the 2 of them. Ning Rongrong and Guran nodded. Although they didn't know Xianlin's plan, they didn't have any doubts about his words. Okay, activate the martial spirit. Xianlin ordered. The 3 of them immediately completed the summoning and possession of martial spirits. Xianlin's magic sword, Ning Rongrong's 7 treasures glazed pagoda, and Guran's skeletal warhorse all appeared. The second 1000-year ring. Everyone present was shocked when they saw Xianlin's second soul ring. Gui Medi and the golden generation of Wuhan Palace were also surprised. Even geniuses like them did not dare to absorb a 1000-year-old soul in the second soul ring. Moreover, this Xianlin was only 9 years old, but his soul power was as high as level 30 or above, which is a genius level. Only stronger than any of them. This guy is indeed a genius. If he were the same age as us, we would not be his match. Although Hulina was conceited, she did not deny the facts. Hearing Hulina's praise of other men, Yan, who had always liked her, suddenly felt unhappy. No matter how talented you are, if you don't grow up, you are useless. 2 soul masters, and 1 great soul master. I will destroy them today. After saying that, Yan's muscles bulged, and a huge shadow appeared on his body. It had both the violence of the fire and the thickness of the earth. This was one of the strongest martial spirits, the fire and earth dual attribute martial spirit, the ancient martial spirit Flame Lord. At the same time, Hulina also completed the martial soul possession, the top martial soul demon fox. Zu holds 2 sharp moon blades in her hands, which are also top-notch weapon spirits. The momentum of the 3 people in Wuhandian is much stronger than that of Xianlin. And they all have the best soul ring configuration of 2 yellow and 2 purple. Haha. Gui Mei smiled coldly. So what? In the second ring of the millennium, the difference in strength was so huge that he really couldn't think of any chance that Xianlin and the others would win. The first soul skill, charm. Hulina's best method is to charm her opponent from the beginning, and then he can be slaughtered by her. Today she repeated her same trick, targeting Xianlin. She could see that Xianlin was the core of the 3 opponents. Xianlin smiled slightly and looked directly into Hulina's eyes, but remained motionless. Hulina found that her mental power seemed to have encountered a shield, unable to invade Xianlin's mind. I'm sorry, I have a fierce daughter at home, and I'm a strict henkeeper. Xianlin pointed at Ning Rongrong behind him. Because of Hulina's foxy eyes, she had already become jealous. This is the first time that Xianlin can be immune to charm because of strict control over his wife. However, smart people know that it is because of this. In fact, it is because Xianlin's mental power is much stronger than Hulina's, so he can be immune to her charm. How can a 9-year-old child have such strong mental power? Gui Mei was very puzzled. No matter how much he thought about it, he would never have thought that Xianlin had the spiritual power of 2 lifetimes. Plus the Wahyang meditation method was a god level technique for cultivating spiritual power when practicing soul power, and his eyes were soul bones attached to the outside. This is also Tianlin's advantage over Tang San. Although Tang San's 8 spider spears are powerful, they are too obvious as for his flaming golden eyes. Even if he uses them, others may not be able to detect them, such as now. Golden flames burn the soul. Mental attacks are very dangerous. While opening up the opponent's spirit, your own spirit is also open. Once it is backfired, it will be far more serious than physical damage. At this moment, Hulina's spirit was severely damaged, and she knelt on the ground and howled without any image point. There was no way. Right now, her soul was being burned by the ultimate fire. No one could endure such pain. Chapter 79. Taking control of the situation. Liuli has the upper hand. Nana, what's wrong with you? Yan and Ziyu looked at the painful Hulina, anxious and distressed. Nana must have been mentally attacked. That guided it. Ziyu looked at Tianlin angrily, with murderous intent on her expression. One of them is Hulina's suitor, and the other is her brother. She has always been regarded as the favorite among the three. I have been merciful, otherwise, I could have directly destroyed her soul just now. Tianlin said with a smile. If you dare to hurt Nana, I will kill you. The first soul skill is to kill. The Fire Lord's second soul skill, Granite Rock. You and Yan attacked Tianlin from both sides. Tianlin's steps were clever, and he avoided Ziyu's 3 slashes and Yan's 2 heavy punches. What kind of pace is this? There is no soul power fluctuation. It seems to be a technique. Yu Yuanzin said strangely. That's called the Drunken Immortal Watching the Moon Step, and it's a unique movement skill created by my disciple. Chen Lin looked proud, but he said, as a disciple, I can tinker with useless things all day long. The most important thing is his swordsmanship is not on the stage at all. Alas, how could Yu Yuanzin not see that the old guy Chen Lin was sighing? It was Versailles. But today he had learned a lot about what a genius was. Compared with Tianlin, Yu Xianheng was simply not worthy of a genius. 2 words. This guy's actions are too sensitive. Yan, go attack Ning Rongrong and deal with the other 2 first. I will hold Jun Tianlin back. Ziyu was very smart and came up with the strategy of surrounding Wei and rescuing Zhao. He kept slashing with the moon blade in his hand. Even if he couldn't attack Tianlin, it was enough to block all his support routes in just a moment. A 2-ring Ning Rongrong and a 3-ring Guran would not be Yan's opponents at all. The second soul skill, Granite Rock. Yan carried a strong earth attribute and punched Ning Rongrong and Guran. Guran kept Tianlin's instructions in mind and wanted to protect Rongrong no matter what, and rushed directly towards the fist. Bang sound of strong fighting resounded throughout the audience. Surprisingly, only Guran, who was at the Soul Master level, received a punch from Yan who was at the Soul Sect level, and his body did not move at all. Guran's body seemed to be wearing a thick layer of dark armor, which was what blocked Yan's attack just now. Body of Tyrannosaurus. Guran resolutely said the name of this move. Could this be it? Yan thought of something. It's actually the rarest torso bone among the 6 soul bones. If you want to touch the eldest lady, you must pass my level first. The second soul skill is bone strengthening. Under the dual blessing of soul bones and soul skills, Guran suddenly increased his strength. He hugged Yan's arm and threw him over his shoulder. Good opportunity. Tianlin's eyes lit up. He first deflected Ziyu's attack with a sword, then launched his soul bone skill to teleport and instantly appeared in the direction where Yan was thrown away. Ziyu didn't expect Tianlin to have the teleportation soul skill, so she didn't react for a moment. At this time, it was too late to pursue, so she had to shout loudly, Yan, be careful, Jun Tianlin is behind you. Damn it. The third soul skill, the flames of hell. Yan shouted angrily and used the third soul skill. Countless flames suddenly burst out from the ground and rushed towards Tianlin. Use flames to deal with me. You are wrong. Tianlin slashed his long sword and the flames dispersed as if they had never appeared before. This is the absolute attribute suppression of ordinary flames by the ultimate fire. And then his second the soul ring shines. Second soul skill, ice and fire conferring god. Tianlin's magic sword waved forming an X to shoot out the sword energy, leaving a scar of the same shape on Yan's back. Tianlin still showed mercy, otherwise this sword would be enough to kill Yan. Still the same problem, the current Qibao Glazed Sect does not have enough capital to offend Wuhan Palace to the death. Even if it is a life and death fight, Wuhan Palace has the ability to overturn the table, and the rules are just toys that they can manipulate at will point. However, this heavy injury was enough. Tianlin flew forward and kicked Yan back towards Guran. Guran, I leave him to you. I will crush him with all my strength. Rongrong, assist Guran. Yes, Yan spat out a mouthful of blood and said unwillingly, you actually hurt me so much. Damn it. Today I will show you how angry I am. My fourth soul skill, lava churning. Yan was finally ready to use his strongest soul skill, but 10 seconds passed and nothing happened. The entire Qibao Glazed Sect was silent and the magma was churning. It sounds very powerful, but you are churning. The magma is churning. The magma is churning. Yan continued to toss at this time. Guran couldn't hold it in any longer and laughed. Haha, is this what you call angry? I think it's funny. Idiot, look at your soul ring. Ghost couldn't bear it anymore and reminded him. Soul ring? Why did my soul ring become like this? And my soul power is only over level 30. Only then did Yan realize that something was wrong with him. Not only had his soul power dropped, but he had even reached the 4th level. The color of the soul ring also changed from purple to gray. It must be Tianlin's soul summoning skill just now. It actually has the effect of lowering the level and sealing the soul ring. The 1000-year-old second ring absorbed by leapfrogging is really extraordinary. Yu Yuan-san saw that this was all Tianlin's operation and started to admire. Now, the 7 treasures are famous. One is strength, the other is speed. Ning Rongrong seized the opportunity and tried his best to increase Guran's strength point at the same time. Guran also completed his 3rd soul skill. Look at me, the breath of death. Under the amplification of the Qibao Glazed Pagoda, the power of Guran's attack completely reached the level of a soul master. Yan, who was reduced to the soul master level, could not resist it at all. In an instant, his soul and body were separated by the breath of death. Guran immediately stepped forward and kicked Yan's body off the stage. When Yan's soul finally returned to his body, he found that he was out. He didn't even have time to show his strength, and he was defeated inexplicably. This won't work. The third soul skill is mental amplification. Hulina injured the pain and used the 3rd soul skill to increase her mental strength and finally managed to survive the burns of Tianlin's soul fire point. But everyone can see that her spirit is quite fragile at this time and she can no longer use the charming soul skills that she is good at. It can be said that she has no fighting ability. The situation is no different from a 3-on-1 situation. The balance of victory and defeat has tilted. The 3 Wuhandian people who were originally optimistic about everyone were beaten by Tianlin and were unable to fight back. From the beginning of the game, they seemed to be beaten by Tianlin. Lead by the nose, old ghost, why don't you admit defeat? If we continue to fight, the golden generation of your Wuhan palace will be wiped out. Gurong said proudly. In this competition, his apprentice Guran also liked him very much, which made him quite satisfied. Humph, we don't know until the last minute of the game. We'll see. Although Gui Mei was also worried, he didn't intend to give up, because Ziyu and Hulina were still there, and they still had a trick to press the bottom of the box that they hadn't used yet. Woolen cloth. Chapter 80. Tianlin defeated the demon and won a complete victory. Brother, Yan was kicked down. I can't use any more mental attacks now. The only chance of victory is to rely on that move. But this time, you have to take the lead. Hulina said weakly. Okay, sister, don't worry. This time, I will definitely kill all 3 of them, especially that Tianlin. Ziyu's hatred for Tianlin at this moment was simply overwhelming, and she wanted to kill him quickly. The 2 of them each released their own 4 soul rings. Each of Hulina's soul rings flashed very regularly. First the 4th soul ring, then the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Each time it flashed, something on her body flashed. The red light will become more dazzling. At the same time, Ziyu, who was holding 2 moon blades behind her, also moved. He and Hulina stood side by side. The red light surrounded them both at the same time. At the same time, the layer of red light spread around like mist, as if to cover the entire soul fighting platform. Martial soul fusion technique. Ning Fengzi blurted out, feeling nervous at the same time. He originally thought he had a chance to win, but he didn't expect that the Spirit Hall had such a trump card point. The martial soul fusion skill formed by two soul sects of level 40 or above is powerful enough to rival a high level soul king, and considering the scale of this fusion skill, the opponent's ultimate move must be extremely powerful. Haha, old bones. Now which side do you think is more dangerous? Things have turned, and this time it's the ghost's turn to be proud. Gurong was as nervous as Ning Fengzi, but Du Gubo and Chen Lin on the side showed strange expressions. With Tianlin as the opponent, what are you using? You must use such a state-type martial soul fusion skill. This time you are going to be miserable. Tianlin smiled slightly, and before the red mist spread to them, he took the initiative to walk in with his sword in hand. This guy is looking for death. Yan immediately laughed. He knew how powerful the soul fusion skills of Xiao and Hulina were. Even if he entered, he would be killed instantly. After walking into the red mist, with the insight of the flame golden eyes, Tianlin saw clearly that the two original people had merged into one, turning into a person with long hair, who could not distinguish between male and female. In his hand, he held Ziyu's moonblade, but at this time, the moonblade was more than twice as big as before. I didn't expect you to dare to take the initiative to enter this place of death. Let's see it carefully. This is our martial soul fusion skill. Demon. Came a male and female mix. The martial arts fusion skills that are neither male nor female are just good looking, but they are of no practical use. Tianlin still mocked at this point. Seeing that Tianlin still didn't take them seriously, Ziyu, who was responsible for taking the lead this time, immediately became angry and slashed over with the moonblade. The murderous intent of the 7 kills sword technique spreads. The world is merciless, and the mountains and rivers are filled with blood. Tianlin used the first 3 moves of the 7 kills sword technique in one breath, and launched a fierce confrontation with Ziyu. Although Tianlin's soul power is inferior to these two, the exquisite sword skills of the 7 kills sword technique make it difficult for Ziyu to resist. He usually relies on the powerful attack power of the moonblade and his deep soul power to control the enemy. Besides, in this red mist, most people have no sight and can only let him slaughter him, so there is no need for him to spend time learning any exquisite martial arts. But today he met Tianlin, a person who could see clearly here with the help of external soul bones. Boom. Z. You was knocked back by Tianlin's sword again. Very good. It can push us who have entered the martial soul fusion states to this point. In this case, don't blame me for being rude. You will die under this move. I come experience your self-created soul skills. Full moon. Z. You moved, and his body began to spin like a whirlwind. What appeared in front of Tianlin at this moment was only a huge disc without any friction or wind whistling. This disc seemed to be able to swallow everything. This is Ziyu's strongest trick. It can be used alone, or in the demonic state of the martial soul fusion skill. When used alone, with his current soul power of more than 40 levels, he is enough to rival the Soul King. And when used in the monster state, it is enough to kill the Soul Emperor. But the side effect of this move is that it will consume a lot of soul power. After the move is released, the soul power will be exhausted, causing the monster state to be exhausted due to exhaustion. Forced to lift. It can be said that this is a skill that, if you cannot defeat the opponent with one move, you will never be able to recover. Therefore, Ziyu usually only uses it as a trump card. Today, he used it, which shows how far he was forced by Tianlin. Suffer death. My move is absolutely perfect. Let's see how you break it. Ziyu said coldly. I can't break such a soul skill. Tianlin admitted directly and helplessly. Just when Ziyu thought he had resigned, he changed the topic and said, although I can't break your Yuan Yu, I can break your martial soul fusion. Take the move. The third soul skill. The tide will turn. At this time, everyone outside was nervously looking at the soul fighting platform. This demon was really powerful. Even a titled Douluo couldn't see clearly what was inside with just his eyes. He could only hear a clanking sound. They all guessed that this should be the competition between Ziyu's Moonblade and Tianlin's sword, but it had calmed down now, and Ning Rongrong and Guran's nervous palms were sweating. HMPH, you should just accept your fate. A soul master cannot take on this martial soul fusion skill no matter what, Gui Mei said confidently. He is now looking forward to what Ning Fengzi and the others will do when they see Tianlin's body expression. But the next moment, he was slapped in the face. A figure flew out of the red mist, and it turned out to be Hulina. There was also a footprint on her chest, and she was actually kicked out. It's Nana. How is that possible? Ghost Douluo's face was full of disbelief. As Hulina was beaten away, the demon was naturally broken, and the red mist gradually dissipated. Only then did everyone see the two people left inside. To their surprise, Ziyu's two moonblades had already been taken off his hands at this time. There were several wounds on his body that were bleeding, and his whole body was grabbed by Tianlin's neck and lifted up in the air. On the other hand, Tianlin, apart from his clothes being a little messy, didn't have any injuries on his body, and the winner was already clear. Hey, don't you want my life? You just want it. You are lifted up in the air by me like a rabbit. You have no power to fight back. To be honest, the three of you are called the golden generation of Wuhan Palace, but today's your performance really disappoints me. I really can't see where your genius lies. Tianlin said mercilessly with sarcasm. Because her neck was strangled, Ziyu couldn't speak, even if she wanted to refute. Let go of my brother. Hulina's weak voice came. She seemed to be struggling to get up. Unfortunately, she was too weak to stand still. Why bother? Why don't you just lie down? I don't want to kill you either. Your Majesty Ghost Douluo, your disciple will pay you back. Tianlin threw Ziyu out of the field, and Gui Mei quickly stepped forward to catch him. Finally, Tianlin walked up to Hulina, put the long sword between her eyebrows, and said, "Don't you admit defeat yet? If I exert just a little force now, my sword will pierce your head." Lina looked at Tianlin unwillingly. If she could, she really wanted to fight Tianlin again. Unfortunately, after the martial soul fusion skill was broken, her mental power was basically completely exhausted. In the end, she had to admit, this time, we admit defeat. Chapter 81 for Douluo Sect, 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. As Hulina admitted defeat, cheers erupted from the Qibao Glazed Sect. Especially Ning Rongrong. She threw herself directly into Tianlin's arms, which was so relieved. Why did Wu Hundian bully them like that just now? Yan immediately went on stage, helped Hulina down, and gave Tianlin a hateful look, which hurt his sweetheart. At this moment, he already regarded Tianlin as his undying enemy. Gui Mei checked all three of them, and breathed a sigh of relief. All three of them seemed to have been seriously injured, but in fact they were all minor injuries. The two scars on Yan's back are not bone shattering, so it will take a while to recover. As for the sealed soul power, it will be released by meditation. Hulina is very weak, but it is just because of excessive mental loss. She can recover after taking a period of rest. Ziyu was the worst, with 3 fatal wounds on her body, but due to Tianlin's exquisite sword skills, they were all superficial wounds. Gui Mei looked at the wounds on Ziyu's body in horror, on his neck, on his wrists, and on his chest. If the blade of the sword deviated even 1 centimeter at any one of them, it would kill him. Even Chen Lin might not be able to achieve such subtle swordsmanship. When he was young. I almost got deceived by that old guy Chen Lin again. He only learned miscellaneous things, and ended up not being good at swordsmanship. This is called not being good at swordsmanship. He has already reached the level of taking things lightly. Okay, in addition, Ziyu's previous use of full moon caused too much soul power consumption, but this was not a problem at all. The ghost stopped his bleeding first, and then gave him a little soul power, and he quickly became energetic again. Yee Z. What happened? Why was your soul fusion skill cracked? Gui Mei asked. He couldn't believe that a small soul master could crack the soul fusion skill that could rival the soul emperor. In fact, in terms of power, Tianlin is of course far inferior to Yamo's move, but his martial spirit can restrain them just right. Ziyu recalled the scene at that time, and recounted with lingering fear. At that time, Nana and I had already mobilized all our soul power, and prepared to use the full moon, to kill him in one breath. But unexpectedly, his third soul skill actually has the ability to forcibly separate our martial souls from fusion, and is simply our nemesis. Due to the sudden separation, my full moon was interrupted, all my soul power was exhausted, and I became a lamb, to be slaughtered by him. By the end of Ziyu's words, she was so angry that she even punched the ground, leaving a deep fist mark on the ground point. Because he lost his soul protection, his fingers began to bleed, but at this time, he was only filled with resentment, and felt no pain at all. Point on the other side, after Tianlin accepted the cheers from everyone in the Qibao Glazed Sect, he walked up to Ning with Ning Rongrong and said, "Sect Master, the three disciples have fulfilled their mission and returned victoriously. Well done, Jun Tianlin, Ning Rongrong, Guran, you three. Listen, I will now remember you three for your great achievements in the name of the leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect." Ning he said seriously. Point: the great merit of a sect is more than just a name. It is a way to obtain the resources of the sect and a guarantee for continuous advancement in the sect. Even if Tianlin and Guran are titled Douluo disciples, Ning Rongrong is Ning Feng's daughter. If they have not made any achievements, even if they succeed as elders or sect leaders in the future, not many people will be convinced. Thank you so much, Sect Master. In front of a large audience, even Ning Rongrong, who is usually average, is now very well behaved, imitating Guran and Tianlin in saluting Ning Feng. I seem to have seen the new generation of glazed pagoda sword and bone combinations in the future. Sect Master Ning, I really envy you. The sect has three such outstanding successors. Yu Yuansen's tone was sour, that he could not express it. He had been outside all the time. Yu Xianheng, who showed off, had no comparison at all in front of Tianlin. Yu Xiangxin is not as good as Guran, who ate the iron armored peony, not to mention that there is Ning Rongrong, who has more qualifications than Ning Fengzi. The Qibao Glazed Sect today not only showed the strength of their current strength, but also showed the depth of their foundation. After all, the younger generation is the future of the sect. Haha, old ghost, do you have anything else to say? Gubo still doesn't forget to make sarcastic remarks. Although he promised not to attack the ghost again, he still used trash talk to annoy him to death. After staying with Tianlin for half a year, he has learned a lot of hurtful words from Tianlin. I'm willing to admit defeat. You can decide for yourself what title Yin Yang will get. We, Wuhan Palace, will no longer participate. The ghost's face looked like a ghost at this moment, and he could be as scary as possible. But Gubo liked to see his expression like this, and continued, it is people's freedom to choose any title. What I'm talking about is the 10,000-year gem-like soulbone. Today, people from all major sects and the Xiandao royal family are. I'm here. You shouldn't break your promise, old poison. This is a matter between our Wuhan Palace and the Qibao Glazed Sect. Why are you, an outsider, meddling in it? Ghost asked angrily. Originally, he really wanted to regret it. After all, it is a 10,000-year gem soulbone. Their Wuhan the palace was only worth a few dollars, but now Gubo came out in public and said that once he broke his promise, the reputation of Wuhan Palace would be over. This would be a far greater blow to them than losing a soulbone. Who said that your majesty Poison Douluo cannot participate in our Seven Treasures Glazed Sex affairs? Ning Fengzi stood up and announced the second major event of the day. Dear fellow soul masters, in fact, I invite you all to come here today. In addition to attending the title ceremony of Elder Yin Yang, there is one more thing I want to announce. That is, our Qibao Glazed Sect will establish the position of the fourth elder today. You must have just seen that there are 4 seats in the Qibao Hall, not 3. Do you all think that this seat has no owner? It was set up by me to inspire the disciples of the sect. You are wrong. The owner of this 4th seat is His Majesty Poison Douluo. He will officially join our Seven Treasures Glazed Sect today. Ning Fengzi spoke word by word with high spirits. One of the 4 Douluo disciplines. This was his confidence to show off. Except for Yu Yuanzin and Shilei, who had been informed of this by their grandsons long ago. The others all stared at Gubo. They wanted to hear Gubo admit it personally. Everyone knows that Gubo is the soul master who yearns for freedom the most. The Wuhan Palace has invited him many times, whether it is through coercion, inducement, or even attack and killing. They have done everything they can. Du Gubo is still unmoved. Could it be that today, is he really going to break his persistence and join the Qibao Glazed Sect? In full view of everyone, Du Gubo walked up to Ning Fengzi and said with a smile, "Sect leader Ning, I don't want to call you sect leader. I feel like I'm inferior to you." Hearing Du Gubo's words, everyone thought he was rejecting Ning Fengzi point, but he didn't expect that Du Gubo's next sentence would change the topic directly. "How about this? From now on, I will be like the old swordsman and old bones. How about just calling you Fengzi, which sounds more approachable, Ning?" Fengzi smiled slightly. "Of course, it's Fengzi's honor that you are willing to call me that. Then I will also call you Uncle Dugu from now on." The conversation undoubtedly confirmed what Ning Fengzi said just now, that Du Gubo actually joined the Qibao Glazed Sect. Point from now on, won't the Qibao Glazed Sect become a super sect with Sword Douluo? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 Yu Xianheng proposes marriage. 50,000-year-old precious soulbone. Old poison, what do you mean? Our Wuhan palace has invited you so many times, but you have refused on the grounds that you don't like to be restrained, and now you have joined the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. Gui Mei was really angry this time. Beware, image and all, go to hell. He now wants to know the reason for Du Gubo's choice, otherwise he will not have a clear idea. Once Du Gubo joins the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile Sect, the strength of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile Sect will increase by a lot. Although his ability to fight alone is not strong, group battles are extremely terrifying. Human seed tactics are meaningless to him. Maybe he can't defeat any other titled Douluo, but he can conquer the entire battlefield. Only the title Douluo was killed. Not to mention, the strength of Du Gubo, who holds the Snow Swan Kiss, has reached a higher level. Ordinary titled Douluo below level 95 are no longer immune to his poison. There's nothing I can do. This little monster said he would provide for me in my old age. When I thought about it, I was already a long time old and Jaina would get married one day. It was time to find a place to enjoy his old age, so I agreed. Kill this little monster. Du Gubo pointed at Tianlin, with a touch of the elder's love for the younger on his face. "It's you again." Gui Mei looked at Tianlin fiercely. If this wasn't the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, he really wanted to use his title Douluo strength to kill him on the spot. As if sensing his killing intent, the four titled Douluo Chen Lin, Rongrong, Du Gubo, and Yin Yang all stood in front of Tianlin. As soon as the ghost made any move, they would tear him into pieces without mercy. Fragments. Many young people looked at Tianlin with envy and admiration. What a treat it was to be protected by four titled Douluo. Gui Mei had no choice but to suppress his murderous intention, but he remembered what happened today, and Tianlin was already on his must-kill list. Because the ghosts no longer caused trouble, after everyone returned to the Qibao Hall, Yin Yang's title ceremony was finally completed successfully, and his title was Thunder Eagle. At the end of the ceremony, the Qibao Glazed Sect immediately greeted all the guests to take their seats. However, Gui Mei and the people from the Wuhan Palace couldn't eat anything right now. They were ready to leave with a flick of their sleeves, not even bothering to say hello. At this moment, Yu Yuanzhen suddenly stood up. "Old ghost, don't leave in a hurry. I also have something to announce today, and your Wuhan Palace happens to be here, so I ask you to help witness it." The ghost turned around and said, "Old Long, what's the matter with you? Haha, Xianheng, take out the things." Yu Yuanzhen chuckled and turned back to his grandson. "Yes." Yu Xianheng took out a gem box from the Soul Guide. The outer packaging was so exquisite, you can imagine how valuable the contents inside would be. Tianlin noticed that when Xianheng came over with the box, he had an extremely excited look on his face. It seemed that what Yu Yuanzhen was going to announce next had something to do with him. Could it be? Tianlin thought of something and couldn't help but feel happy for Xianheng. Sect. Master Ning, Your Majesty Du Guyan, this is the betrothal gift given to you two by this junior. I have admired Miss Du Guyan, the granddaughter of Senior Du Gu, for a long time. Today I'm not overestimating my ability I hope that your majesty Duguman can fulfill my wish and betroth Jaina to me. I, Yu Xianheng, would like to swear here by my martial spirit that I will never let Jaina down in this life. If I violate this oath, my martial spirit will shatter and die. Xianheng expressed his determination with an oath, and then looked forward to looking at Ning Fengxi and Dugubo. Everyone below was panicking again. Dugubo had already joined the Qibao Glazed Sect. At this time, Yu Xianheng asked him to marry him. Doesn't this mean that the second and third largest sects in the world are getting married? Even the Wuhan Palace and the Haotian sect, the number one sect in the world, would have to feel wary of this powerful alliance. Sect. Master Ning, old poisoner, look at my grandson. Although he is not as stunning as Tianlin, he can still be regarded as a genius. He is also in love with Duguan. Why don't you help them? Yu Yuanzhen laughed. I have no objection. Uncle Dugu's granddaughter will naturally make the decision. Ning Fengxi said this, but he actually agreed. HMPH. Dugu both snorted coldly. He couldn't like Yu Xianheng who stole his granddaughter, but he had no choice but to let his granddaughter recognize him. You can marry my granddaughter if you want. Do two things. First, prove your talent. Before the age of 20, your soul power reaches level 45 or above. Second, get Jaina's own consent. I will not force her to marry someone she doesn't like of. Thank you, Senior Debu. Yu Xianheng was overjoyed. The two conditions proposed by Dugubo were very difficult for ordinary people, but for Yu Xianheng, they were as simple as eating and drinking water. His soul power has now reached level 38. As long as he is given a few more years, it is not a problem to increase to level 7. Moreover, Dugu Yan's heart is now his, and he has already achieved the second point. Congratulations, Xianheng. Tianlin and Huang Dao team members stepped forward to congratulate them. Ning Rongrong and Li Lingling gathered around Dugu Yan. At this time, Dugu Yan's face was flushed, completely different from his usual heroic appearance. But she was very happy. Yu Xianheng proposed in front of so many titled Douluo today in full view of the public. It was so classy. Yu Yuanzhen laughed and said, haha, that's great. Xianheng, why don't you open the box and give the betrothal gift to Sect Master Ning and Mr. Debu? Yes. Yu Xianheng followed the instructions and opened the treasure box. Suddenly, a burst of light like a purple gem shone out from the box, and the experts present could even feel that the things inside contained very powerful soul power. When the light gradually dissipated, they finally saw clearly that there was a purple skull inside. Head. Soul bone. Everyone was shocked. It was another top quality treasure. We are not as stingy as some people and use some average quality 1000-year-old bones to fool people. Yu Yuan pointed out clearly. Sect Master Ning, Mr. Debu, this skull was hunted by the elders of my clan. It was only obtained from the poison electric salamander for 50,000 years. Unfortunately, this soul bone only inherited the poisonous attribute of the poison electric salamander, but not the electric attribute. Therefore, it is not suitable for our clan. Today is the right time to give it away. Give it to Mr. Debu, and you can find a suitable owner for it. Salamander, which looks a bit like a lizard, is also a sub-dragon spirit beast. Poison attribute, dragon species, 50,000 years, and a precious head. Add these factors together, and it is no exaggeration to say that this soul bone is priceless compared with the two pieces that Wu Hundian took out before. They are not worthy of carrying shoes. Old. Long, I have received your sincerity, and I hope you will treat my Jaina well in the future. Dugubo finally let go. Being able to offer this thing as a betrothal gift shows that Yu Xianheng attaches great importance to Dugu Yan. He has good qualifications and is in love with Dugu Yan. Dugubo really can't find any reason to object. Chapter 83 Bibi Dong's Lessons. The marriage between the Qibao Glazed Sect and the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family was successful. From now on, Yu Xianheng and Dugu Yan are an unmarried couple. The Qibao Glazed Sect ushered in two great events in succession. This banquet was a feast for both the guests and the host, except for some people, of course. For example, the ghosts left in a hurry without eating, and the celestial phenomenon Hu Yanxin looked ferocious throughout. When the two major sects of the three sects join forces, when will the Elephant Armor sect come forward? 3 days later, outside Qibao City, Yu Xianheng and Du Guyan looked at each other, as if they were parting from life or death. Xianheng. Be careful along the way, I will wait for you to come back. Du Guyan said gently. Well, Jaina, no matter where I am, I will always think of you. Yu Xianheng held Du Guyan's hand tightly, and was unwilling to let go. The singles present were quite speechless. Wasn't it because Yu Xianheng wanted to go home? Why should he be so reluctant to leave? Oslo couldn't bear it anymore. Didn't we make an appointment to gather again at Xiandao Royal Academy in 3 days? Don't you want to be like this? You can't wait for 3 days. Don't you feel tired and panicked? Don't forget, there are still 6 single dogs here. You're a single guy who won't understand. Also, who said there are 6 of them here? Don't you know that the 2 of them, Graphite Shamo and the others, are no longer virgins? Yu Xianheng said with a sidelong glance. This was what his father told him. In fact, he was shocked when he heard the news, because these 2 brothers were really stupid in the team. Oslo looked at the 2 of them in disbelief. They agreed to be single together, so Yu Xianheng could forget it. After all, he and Di Guan had been flirting with each other for several years, but you two seemed the most honest. He actually escaped first. As the elder brother, Xiamo scratched his head in embarrassment. Hey, actually, this is also our family's arrangement. Our black tortoise martial soul is quite special. When we reach a certain age, we must go through special rituals with the opposite sex in order to further awaken our bloodline. But my brother and I didn't give up. We made an agreement with the 2 girls to marry them after we graduate. Now they are living in my house. To prevent misunderstanding, Xiamo then explained. Tianlin understood. It turned out that they were the same as Zusanshi in later generations. The blood of the divine beasts in their bodies had to be awakened through such a ritual. Unfortunately, their blood did not seem to be as deep as Zusanshi's. Even if they successfully passed the ritual, it was only slightly strengthened. The martial soul is powerful, but it has not become the real mythical beast Zuanwu. Otherwise, their imperial fighting team will have 2 more god-level spirits, even. The brothers from the Shi family have fiancés, Yufeng, Xiaoshan, and Guran. It seems that we are the only 4 brothers and sisters. Oslo said in frustration. You said it. Don't count Brother Jian. Brother Jian has me. At this time, Ning Rongrong rushed out from nowhere, hugged one of Tianlin's arms and shouted fiercely, well, although I'm still single, at least I have a goal. Guran glanced at Qilingling sheepishly. Looking at Tianlin and Guran, with a Lolita and a girl standing next to them, Oslo knew that he had made the wrong payment again. How could these handsome and talented guys be single? Oslo looked at his last hope. Yufeng, don't mess with me, I have a girlfriend. Although Yufeng usually talks the least, he is actually a slut. Tianlin saw him secretly dating a beautiful senior sister outside several times more than once. He was actually the first person to leave the group. By the way, there is also Teacher Qin. I heard that he is also planning to take Xiaoyan back to Shrek Academy in these 3 days to meet Zhao Wuji and Flender. He is an orphan. To him, the 2 deans are his elders, so this time they are actually going to meet the parents. Maybe it won't be long before Kinming can hold a little wolf cub. Oh, Oslo, please forgive me. Tianlin patted Oslo on the shoulder and walked back to Qibao City. Several other people also looked at him pitifully. After a long time, the clan was the only one. All the guests had dispersed, leaving Oslo alone in a mess in the wind. On the other side, Gui Medi and his party have also returned to Wuhan City. At this moment, the 3 members of the Golden Generation and Gui Medi are kneeling in the hall, not daring to take a breath. Bibi Dong had already listened to the report of their trip. She didn't say a word, she just kept tapping her fingers while holding the papal staff, as if she wanted to break the handle. Anyone who knows her well knows that Bibi Dong seems to be calm at this moment, but in fact she is extremely angry. Okay, that's great. I, the elder of Wuhan Palace, Gui Mei, and 3 people from the Golden Generation, were actually fooled around by a 9-year-old child. Not only did the plan to sow discord fail, but I also lost a 10,000-year gem like Soulbone. After a long time, Bibi Dong said in an extremely cold tone, Teacher, this is all my fault. The Ghost Elder was originally going to refuse this bet, but I insisted on using the Soulbone as a bet. I thought that little guy was just bluffing. If you want to punish me, then punish me. Hulina, he lowered his head and begged, do you think you can handle this on your own? Your problem is not that you agreed to a bet, but that you lost after you agreed. Facing a combination of a great soul master and 2 soul masters, you 3 soul sects were defeated so completely that the Wuhan palace's face was stained. You have lost everything. Bibi Dong said coldly. The 3 of them lowered their heads and did not dare to speak. Bibi Dong continued, do you know where you lost? Let me tell you, it's just 2 words. Underestimate the enemy. First of all, it was Nana. She launched a mental attack rashly, but she didn't expect that the opponent's mental power was stronger than yours, so she was counterattacked and lost her fighting ability as soon as she started. Then there is Yan, who is brave and foolhardy, and is too arrogant. He insists on using weak soul skills to tease others. If you had used the 4th soul skill from the beginning, how could you have fallen to the point where your soul power was sealed? Finally, it's Ziyu, you, Nana and Yan were all restrained by that Tianlin. It's understandable that they lost. But as for you, you are the most promising person here to defeat him, but you are still led by his nose. At the end of the sentence, Bibi Dong stood up and let out a breath. The aura of the title Douluo made it impossible for the 3 of them to straighten their backs. His Majesty the Pope, the 3 of them cannot be entirely blamed for this matter. In fact, that Tianlin is too powerful and scheming. Even I was tricked by him. The ghost persuaded. Yeah, who would have thought that a 9-year-old child could be so scary? If it were anyone else, they would end up like the old ghost. As a good gay friend, you Guan naturally cannot watch ghosts. Suffering in vain. Bibi Dong glanced at a few people and sneered. Haha, so you are all convinced by that Tianlin, and you don't plan to seek revenge on him again, right? Of course not, teacher. I swear to you, next time, I will defeat him. Hulina raised her head firmly and looked directly at Bibi Dong despite the pressure of a titled Douluo. Bibi Dong sat back on the throne with satisfaction. Today, she finally heard a sentence that satisfied her. Nana was worthy of being his direct disciple, and her unwillingness to admit defeat was very similar to hers. Chapter 84 Discussion of Wuhan Palace. Forget it, the matter has come to this, so let's let this matter go for the time being, but I tell you, if you lose to that Tianlin next time, you can all go to the Lost Grand Canyon to practice for 3 years. Bibi Dong said. Hearing this, everyone was relieved, but they were still very scared. Only ghosts could survive in the Lost Canyon. In 3 years, they might really turn into ghosts. Teacher, do you know what Tianlin's ability is? Why can he restrain Yan and I, and even my brothers and my martial soul fusion skills are useless against him? Hulina asked. She needed to know as much as possible Tianlin's information, so that we can defeat the enemy next time. The defeat of that day has been regarded by her as a lifelong shame, and it must be washed away with Tianlin's blood. According to what you said, that Tianlin is indeed extraordinary. Nana, the reason why your charm is useless on him is because he has a soul bone to protect his body, and it is a head soul bone that increases his mental power. The reason why the flames that Yan attacked him suddenly disappeared is because of the absolute suppression of attributes. He should have the ultimate fire. Finally, there is his 3rd soul skill, which is called Feng Shu Zuan. I guess the function of that skill is its state release. Although the fusion of your martial soul with Ziyu is powerful, it is also a status soul skill, so of course it will be tightly restrained by him. Bibi Dong is worthy of being the Pope and the Master's lover back then. Just hearing what they said, they made a pretty good guess about Tianlin's situation. The only thing wrong is that what Tianlin possesses is not the head soul bone, but the external soul bone. After all, that thing is too rare. No one would think that way, so we actually have a good chance of winning. If my charm is not directed at him, but instead directed at the other 2, I should be able to defeat them easily. And Yan, as long as he doesn't use fire and uses earth instead, he will not be restrained by Tianlin, and his brother will have a chance to kill Tianlin. As long as he does not use martial soul fusion skills, with his soul power exceeding level 40, using full moon alone is not a level 30 soul master. I can handle it. Hulina's combat IQ is really good. After listening to Bibi Dong's analysis, She immediately came up with many countermeasures. Nana is right. We were just tricked this time. We will never lose to him next time. With my moon blade, I will definitely cut off its head with my own hands next time. When Hulina said this, Ziyu and Yan immediately regained their confidence. Ghost Douluo on the side nodded secretly. Hulina was worthy of being a direct descendant of the Pope. Her abilities were indeed stronger than her own disciples. Failure was not terrible. What was terrible was the fear of failure. She easily helped the two of them regain their faith. So, let's talk about the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile Sect. It is the second largest sect in the world, with 4 Douluo sects. This has completely surpassed the original Haotian sect. Bibi Dong talked about the business. The current 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sector strength has become too great, and has become a serious problem for her. His Majesty the Pope, don't worry. One of the 4 Douluo may seem powerful, but compared to our spirit hall, it is still far behind. Yu Guan comforted. Bibi Dong glanced at Yu Guan. Stupid, don't forget, among those 4 Douluo, Chen Lin is the best in attack, Gurong is the best in defense, and Qibao is the best in group combat. No matter how many title Douluo we have, it is meaningless to them. Qibao with the snow-colored swan kiss in his hand can poison all title Douluo below Super Douluo. Bibi Dong originally planned to deal with the 7 Treasure Glazed sect in the future. The 4 titled Douluo are all below level 95. Now the plan must change, but the highest ranking ones under her are Yu Guan and Gui. Even they are no match for Qibao. Does she need to take action personally? Bibi Dong quickly rejected this idea. The next 10 years would be a critical moment for her to inherit the position of Rakshasa God. Then there was only one way. Bibi Dong looked in the direction of the enshrinement hall. In the future, she might have to pay some price to let the people there take action in order to deal with the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Forget it, you will go down. I want to think about it carefully. By the way, Nana will stay. Bibi Dong waved her hand and told Yuguan Ghost and the others to leave. Well, your majesty, the 10,000-year gem-like soul bone promised to Qibao Glazed sect. Do we have to keep the promise? Gui Mei asked tentatively. Before leaving, Bibi Dong's scepter knocked on the ground hard. Humph, you said it in front of all the major sects and the Cheyenne Dao royal family. Do you think we can regret it? We still have 3 pieces of 10,000-year gem soul bone stored in our store. Let Lordiola take a piece and send it to the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Remember, don't choose the one with a head. The most suitable gem-like soul bone is the head. If it is used in other parts, the effect will be greatly weakened. Bibi Dong ultimately wants to minimize the loss. Yes. Gui Mei was afraid that Bibi Dong would be angry again, so he quickly retreated with Yu Guan and others in the Pope's palace. Only Bibi Dong and Hulina were left. Hulina said respectfully, Teacher, why are you keeping me here? Nana, I know what you just said was actually just to restore the confidence of Ziyu and Yan, but ask yourself, what are the chances of you meeting that Tianlin again in the future? Bibi Dong asked. She wanted to hear from Hulina true thoughts. Hulina lowered her head. She really couldn't hide it from her teacher. The chance of winning is less than 50%, and as time goes by, the chance of winning will continue to decrease. She was considering Tianlin's terrifying talent. Now Tianlin could crush them, even though they were nearly 10 levels apart. Once he caught up with them in level, there would be no hope at all. As expected, I really didn't expect that the Qibao Glazed sect would produce such a genius. Apart from her, no one in the world can compete with her. It's a pity. Bibi Dong thought of Qian Ringsu. Her qualifications were by no means inferior. Tianlin, it's a pity that Qian Ringsu doesn't have a good relationship with her, and it can even be said that they are in conflict with each other. Nana, your talent is definitely the best. You have to believe in yourself. Now, absorb this. Bibi Dong suddenly took out a sapphire blue head soul bone. The soul bone slowly flew to Hulina's hand, surprising her. Teacher, is this the skull of spiritual condensed wisdom? Comes from a soul beast that is more than 50,000 years old. It is the best among spiritual soul bones. Since that Tianlin surpassed you in mental power because of the soul bone, then you are in the same place. If we win it back, will the soul bones of our Wuhan palace still be inferior to his 7 Treasures Glazed sect? Bibi Dong said with great courage. This soul bone was originally the championship prize in the continent-wide Soul Master Elite competition a few years later, but this time, in order to allow Hu Lina to successfully defeat Chen Lin in the future, Bibi Dong took it out in advance. Thank you, teacher. Hu Lina was overjoyed. Of course she knew how precious this soul bone was. After absorbing it, her mental power would be at least several times stronger, and she would no longer be afraid of Chen Lin. Hu Lina completely regained her confidence. Chen Lin, Qibao Glazed Sect, you will wait for me. Hu Lina, will make you pay the price sooner or later. Chapter 85. 3 years later. Time flies, and 3 years have passed since the title ceremony of the Qibao Glazed Sect. In the past 3 years, Douluo Continent has been very peaceful, so the biggest event that everyone remembers is the title sealing ceremony. The 7 Treasures Glazed Sect with 4 Douluo is now known as the largest sect in the world. Because the Haitian sect has long been hidden from the world, people's impression of this sect is that of a double Douluo, which is different from the current 7 Treasures sect. The Liuli sect is incomparable. After 3 years, Chen Lin is no longer the 9-year-old boy, but a handsome 12-year-old boy. As for his strength, it is far stronger than before. The scene, when he defeated the 3 people from Wuhandian in a crushing manner, is still unforgettable. At the Qibao Glazed Sect Soul Fighting stage, today was a rare day for Chen Lin and Guran to come back from the Royal Academy to visit relatives. In order to test their cultivation progress, Chen and Gurong specially found several ordinary soul sects to test the strength of the 2 of them. The first is Guran. His soul power has now reached level 44, and his 4 soul rings, 2 yellow and 2 purple, show the strength of his soul sect. Not only that, he got another soul bone 3 years ago, which was one of the 2 soul bones given to Dugubo by Wuhan Palace. They had gained a lot at that time. Dugubo's 2 ordinary soul bones were the power type left arm bone and the poison type skull. The left arm bone was given to Guran, but the poison type skull has not yet found a suitable person to absorb it. As for Duguyan, she has something better, which is the poisonous electric newt skull among the other 2 super precious soul bones. This skull was a betrothal gift given to Dugubo by the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. The owner was naturally Duguyan. No one would object to this. Duguyan's soul skill of absorbing this soul bone is really extremely terrifying. It is a powerful stunt that even Chen Lin cannot dodge. Finally, there is the 10,000-year gem-like soul bone sent by Wuhan Palace, the right leg bone of the amethyst civet cat. The amethyst cat is a gem-like soul beast whose whole body is covered with gems. It is extremely fast and has extremely strong mental power, able to strike directly into the opponent's soul with its sharp claws. If it were the soul bone on the arm, it would most likely inherit its soul attacking soul skill, Cat Spirit Claw, but because it was a leg bone, it would only inherit its speed soul skill, Amethyst Clone. This soul bone was very suitable for Rongrong, so Ning Fengzi gave it to her. After Ning Rongrong absorbed this soul bone and combined it with the drunken immortal moon watching step taught to her by Chen Lin, her life-saving ability on the battlefield was greatly improved. Amplitude increase. Go. Run. Come on. If you lose today, Grandpa Bones will probably tear your bones apart. Chen Lin said with a smile. Boss, don't worry. Guran turned around and said confidently, good opportunity. Upon seeing this, Guran's opponent immediately became energetic, seized this momentary flaw, and collectively launched a fierce attack. The first soul skill, Bull Impact. The first soul skill, start with 1 strike. The third soul skill is to risk your life and collide. The 3 fighting soul sects continuous attacks. Even the Soul King didn't dare to resist, but Guran just refused to dodge and blocked all the attacks with his body without even using the Death Tyrannosaurus soul bone skill. Over the years, he has absorbed all the medicinal power of Iron Armored Peony and said that Guran is now a defensive soul sect, so there is actually no problem. Guran raised his head, glanced at the 3 of them and said, it's my turn to fight back next. The 4th soul skill, the Domain of Bones. Go. Ran's arm shook to the ground, and immediately, countless bones stretched out from the ground. These bones were not only extremely tough, but also contained toxins. Anyone who was stabbed, even if it was only a slight scratch, would be poisoned, and would be paralyzed. It can be said that this is a large-scale soul skill that includes strong attack and control, and it is considered the best among the 4th soul skills. This soul ring was personally selected by Gurong, because Gurong's own 4th soul skill was similar to Bone Domain, so he knew how powerful this move was, and he also knew what kind of soul ring he could absorb to have a high probability of obtaining this move. As a result, obviously, Gurong succeeded. In just an instant, the 3 soul sects were surrounded by a forest of bones, and were unable to move. However, they were one of their own after all, so Gurong was merciful. The bones just passed by those people, and did not really hurt them. Brother, Gurong is really powerful. We are willing to give up. The 3 soul sects immediately admitted defeat. They all knew that, if Gurong hadn't been merciful, they would have been 3 corpses now. Alas, these ordinary soul sects are no match for Aina at all. Not to mention causing trouble to him. They can't even catch one of his soul skills. Gurong said, looking very distressed. Chen Lin and Ning Fengzi on the side were very speechless. Everyone could tell that this guy was just showing off. Old bones, if that's the case, why don't you let Zhao Wuji compete with Gurong? It's not good for young people to be too proud, and they need to be punished from time to time. Chen Lin teased. Hearing this, Gurong seemed to have choked on his meal. The smile on his face stopped abruptly, and finally he said bitterly, "Old swordsman, if you want to compete with my disciple, you must at least find someone first. Is your disciple still a human being? He is simply the reincarnation of monster." Ning Fengzi nodded. Although he was unhappy with Gurong's taunting, he had to admit that what he said was the truth. Tianlin's current level is not inferior to Gurong's at all, and his 4th soul ring. Everyone looked at the soul fighting arena together. After Gurong went down, it was Tianlin's turn to take the stage. He had more opponents than Gurong, 7 soul sects, but the 7 soul sects were not proud of their large numbers. Instead, they all looked nervously at the young man, who was much younger than them. As members of the same sect, no one knew what that young man was like better than them. How terrible. Brothers, I'm coming. Please accept the move. Sword control. Tianlin moved his fingers, and the magic sword flew out. After several years of practice, Tianlin has finally mastered the art of sword control to a level of proficiency. Now, when he faces some weak opponents, he doesn't even need to hold his sword to attack them. 10,000 sword due. After image sword. 10,000 swords to kill demons. 10,000 swords to kill demons is a new combined soul skill created by Tianlin. After he mastered the 10,000 swords technique, he discovered that fusing this skill with the after image sword would superimpose its power several times. Because the current Tianlin 10,000 swords technique is only in its infancy and has not yet reached the level of a true 10,000 swords, but there is absolutely no problem with the 1,000 swords. Coupled with the after shadow sword, each magic sword is divided into 5 shadow swords in the sky. More than 5,000 swords were immediately pointed at the 7 soul sects. As long as they fell, they could all turn into hedgehogs in an instant. Wait a minute, Boss Zhao Wuji, let's admit defeat. The 7 soul sects immediately shouted, not even bothering to release their martial souls. They couldn't defeat them anyway, so what's the point of resisting? It's better to just lie down and be honest, so as not to get beaten up. Since Tianlin came on stage, he didn't move a step, and didn't even show his soul ring, so he easily won the victory. Gurong looked as if he was like this. I'm telling you, old swordsman, it's a waste of time to find someone to test this monster. Now that Zhao Wuji is taking action with all his strength, I'm afraid that ordinary soul kings may not be able to defeat him. Even the Soul Emperor can give it a try. Chapter 86. Ning Rongrong ran away from home. Since Tianlin and Gurong could only stay for one day and had to go back to Xiandao Royal Academy tomorrow, it was rare for them to put aside their cultivation. It was a rare opportunity for them to go home and spend time with their families. Not to mention that Tianlin had to go back to Qibao in the evening. I went to the village with my parents. Although Tianlin had always wanted to bring his parents to live together, they didn't adapt to the life here and returned to Qibao village within a few days. Seeing this, Tianlin let them go, as long as they were happy anyway. However, during lunch, Tianlin discovered that there was one person missing from the dinner table. Uncle Ning, where is Rongrong? Tianlin asked in confusion. Why was the little aunt who used to chirp beside him every time he came back missing? Ning Fengzi smiled slightly and said, because she went to Xiandao Royal Academy to see you last time and saw that you had another woman. Now she got angry and ran away from home. Hearing this, Tianlin looked anxious. I don't have any other women. It's those women who come here on their own. With Tianlin's strength, appearance, and status, he will naturally attract some women who want to climb high. When Ning Rongrong came to see him one day, he happened to see a lowly figure delivering food to Tianlin. She was furious on the spot. Tianlin explained anxiously, but when he saw Ning Fengzi drinking tea leisurely while listening, his eyes immediately narrowed. When this guy talked about his daughter leaving home, he looked nonchalant, as if he didn't care at all. Seeing him like this, Tianlin knew that Ning Rongrong's whereabouts must be under his control. He was too worried just now. Lost cool. With the current guarding strength of the Qibao Glazed Sect, it was impossible for Ning Rongrong to sneak out without anyone noticing. After scanning around, Tianlin found that besides Rongrong, there seemed to be one person missing. Uncle Ning, where is Grandpa Eagle? He must have been sent by you to protect Rongrong, right? I didn't do this. Uncle Hang went there on his own. After being promoted to title Douluo, he said that his life goal had been completed and he had nothing to do if he stayed around every day, so he secretly followed Rongrong. Ning Fengzi put down his teacup, said calmly. Yin Yang's original potential limit was actually only the 89th level peak Sword Douluo. He might have been stuck at this bottleneck for a lifetime. Even if he achieved a breakthrough with the help of Tianlin's elixir, the power of the purple gold elixir has been exhausted. No matter what Yin Yang does now during his training, his soul power progressed extremely slowly. He would probably reach level 92 or 93 at most in his lifetime. It would be basically impossible for him to become a super Douluo. Therefore, now, he mainly focuses on cultivating his descendants. Ning Rongrong, who is like a granddaughter, is his heart and soul. This old guy's doting on Ning Rongrong is no less than that of the pair of sword bones. HMPH, Feng Zhi, you still dare to say that? How can you rest assured that Rongrong goes out alone? If the eagle hadn't followed, I would have had to talk to you. Sword Douluo thought of this, and immediately became serious. Originally, Ning Fengzi only wanted to send two little soul kings to protect him secretly. It's not like their Qibao Glazed Sect didn't even have a Soul Saint Soul Douluo. Even there were 4 titled Douluo. Rongrong will not be in danger. The name of our 7 treasures Glazed Tile Sect is enough to intimidate most soul masters. And judging from the direction Rongrong is heading, he should want to join Shrek Academy. Ning Fengzi said. Just like the original work, Ning Rongrong still went to the place she was supposed to go, but this time there were 2 reasons. One was out of anger, angry that Tianlin was so popular with women. She wanted to find a team to defeat the Xiandao Royal Academy. Prove your excellence. The reason why she knew about the existence of Shrek Academy was because she had asked Tianlin before if there was anyone he regarded as a real opponent in the next continent-wide Soul Master Academy competition. At that time, Tianlin casually returned to 2 academies, Wuhandian Academy and Shrek Academy. Ning Rongrong remembered these 2 names. Of course she would not go to Wuhandian. They use their power to bully the 7 treasures Glazed Sect. She remembered that scene clearly, and she only hated Wuhan Palace. Therefore, she only had one choice left, and that was Shrek Academy. The second reason is for the 7 treasures Glazed Tile Sect. Tianlin once said that sooner or later he will go to Shrek Academy. Some of the people there need to be used. Some need to be recruited into the sect, and some need to be carried out level of suppression to prevent it from becoming too powerful and making the future uncontrollable. The most important among them is Tang San. Although Tianlin has nothing to help him with regard to the fairy grass, and it is impossible to return the fairy grass to him, and he may even trick him, but don't forget, Tang San, he is also good at hidden weapons. Direct disciples of the Qibao Glazed Sect have no offensive power. These hidden weapons are very important to the Qibao Glazed Sect, so they have to make use of them before tricking him. In the original work, Thanks to the hidden weapon he provided, the Qibao Glazed Sect was able to avoid the disaster of annihilation during the soul hunting operation point. Although Shushan also has spells, it has only been a few years since the original soul hunting operation, and Tianlin has only developed simple auxiliary spells. To draw attack spells, you must master the 5 spirits immortal technique. But now Tianlin still knows nothing about this. The other things the Shushan sect was good at were swordsmanship, Taoism, sword refining, alchemy, etc. But they had no relevant knowledge about hidden weapons. Therefore, if they wanted to improve the sect's combat effectiveness in a short period of time, they could only rely on Tang Hao for hidden weapons with the intention of helping her sword brother. Ning Rongrong first went to Shrek Academy to explore the way. For the people Tianlin planned to invite, she would first go to establish good relations with them. With her as the future sect leader personally inviting them, she would be given enough face. Come on, HMPH, how can a Shrek Academy teach as well as us? At this time, Durong slammed the table angrily. He was also very dissatisfied with Ning Fengzi for letting Ning Rongrong go out. In fact, Shrek Academy is not completely unknown. In the Wuhan Palace, it is said that a young elder graduated from there. I don't know whether it is true or not, but Qinming, the genius teacher of Xiandao Royal Academy, did graduate from there. Came out their point today. Qinming's soul power is as high as level 65, which is 3 levels higher than in the original work. With qualifications like his, the purple gold pill is just the icing on the cake, and it is only a matter of time before he becomes a titled Douluo. Hearing Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo's angry words one after another, Ning Fengzi felt his head hurt. They were obviously making trouble unreasonably, but there was really nothing he could do to stop the complaints of these 2 old men who doted on his granddaughter, especially when the 2 old men were still super Douluo among titled Douluo. Master, Grandpa Bone, don't worry. The teacher who teaches me now is also from Shrek Academy. When I have time, I will ask Teacher Qin to take me to meet Rongrong. Tianlin comforted the 2 old men. Ning Fengzi struck, while the iron was hot, and added, Uncle Jian, Uncle Bone, you should rest assured that Tianlin said this. With Uncle Ing and Tianlin here, everything will be fine. Moreover, Rongrong really needs to go out to see the world. He has been staying in the sect for a long time. Practicing in this way is not conducive to her growth. Hearing this, Durong nodded secretly. What Ning Fengzi said was quite reasonable. Humph, something happened to Rongrong, and I asked you about it. Chen Lin said harshly, and flew away with his sword. Ning Fengzi broke into a cold sweat behind her back. She couldn't afford to offend the grandfather who loved his granddaughter. On the other side, Tianlin came to the sect's alchemy office. In recent years, the sect has added a new hall called Medicine Hall. Different from the other 3 halls responsible for combat or investigation, this hall is mainly for the one who is responsible for assisting the disciples of the sect in their cultivation is Qibao, the leader on the surface, but in reality it is Tianlin who is actually in charge. After all, Tianlin once promised Qibao that he would not give him any work, and he would do what he said. At this time, Qibao was lying on a deck chair alone, hiding in the shade of a tree to enjoy the coolness. Snakes really like shady places. Little monster, are you back? Qibao heard the footsteps and knew who it was without even opening his eyes. Chapter 87 Shrek Academy. Seeing that Qibao didn't even bother to open his eyes, Tianlin said helplessly, Old monster, you are too leisurely. Is it possible that you are really planning to live a retirement life now? You know, you are not here at 90 years old. As a titled Douluo, you can at least live for more than 200 years after the poison is eliminated. With so many years left, are you going to stay on the recliner? Haha. Qibao stretched, yawned, and then said, didn't you say you wanted to support me in my old age? I found that this kind of life is quite good. The environment is so good. I eat and sleep every day. I can practice and cultivate my soul power when I'm free, and I don't have to worry about the poison in my body, and I don't have to worry about those guys from Wuhan Palace coming to trouble me. It's so comfortable, but if you continue like this, I'm afraid your body will get rusty. You still have to move when it's time to move. Tianlin advised earnestly, I don't rely on my body to fight, so what if I'm rusty? Anyway, my poison is getting stronger day by day. Dugubo said disapprovingly. Chen also knew that this guy was not lying because in the past 3 years, Chen Lin wrote out the refining medicine chapter in his Shushan treasure record and gave it to him. Dugubo had nothing to do, so he studied various highly toxic herbs. Now his wishful treasure bag was separated by 2 layers. In addition to the snow-colored swan kiss that was his trump card at the bottom of the second layer, there were at least a dozen different poisonous weeds on the first layer. Not only do these poisonous weeds contain extremely powerful toxins, they can also be fused with his jade-scaled snake king venom to produce a variety of different terrifying poisons. Although his level has not improved in the past few years, his combat effectiveness has at least doubled. Now if he were to compete with the 2 great Douluo Jujui, they would definitely not be able to defeat Dugubo's endless poisons. Forget it, it's up to you. Chen Lin shook his head and ignored him, and walked into the alchemy room. At this time, Dugubo opened his eyes, looked at Chen Lin's leaving figure, and murmured, "This little monster's soul power has been improved again. He is really a monster. I thought that his cultivation speed would be slowed down by his extreme attributes, but it didn't happen. Even if you think of it, it can still surpass most geniuses. Chen Lin's soul power has improved so quickly. Speaking of which, he has to thank Dugubo for giving him the ice and fire eyes. The ice and fire attributes there are too strong, which makes up for Chen Lin's cultivation problems due to his extreme attributes. Chen Lin now only stays in the academy for half a month every month, and spends the rest of the time meditating and practicing at the ice and fire eyes. There is a poisonous array set up by Dugubo there, and there are no soul beasts or other people to disturb him. It is really a treasured place for cultivation. Even when he returned to the academy, he and Zuking used the power of Shiangsu to assist in training, and the speed was not slow at all. As for why he doesn't just rely on Shiangsu's power to practice every day, it's because Chen Lin doesn't want to be too intimidating to his enemies. Ringsu's training speed is really terrifying. He is born at level 20 and is not hindered by his ultimate attributes. Chen Lin had long been discovered that, since she cultivated the power of Shiangsu, her true level was close to that of Soul Saint. If this continues, I'm afraid that by the time she officially appears in the original work, she will have become a genuine contrap. How will I be able to defeat her by then? However, over the years, Zuking has been very good to Chen Lin. No matter how busy she is as the prince, she will always take time to see him, or give him some pills to assist his practice, or some precious soul tools, etc. There is even a lot of information about soul beasts with attributes unknowingly. Chen Lin already owed her a lot of favors, which made Chen Lin a little embarrassed. If he continued to owe her like this, let alone whether he could beat her in the future, whether he could beat her or not was still a question. Every time he thinks about this, Chen Lin always hopes that there is some way to return the favor to her, even if it is an enemy. Although Chen Lin is not a good person, his bottom line is that he cannot be ungrateful, even if he has to live and die with Ringsu in the future. Even if you want to fight, you must first pay her back everything you owe her. Chen Lin walked into the medicine refining hall, and several disciples immediately greeted him. "See you, young master." These people are all disciples of the medicine refining hall, and they are all soul masters with poor strength. Originally they could only guard the city gate, but Chen Lin discovered them and taught them the knowledge of medicine refining, and they became important members of the sect characters. So these people are extremely grateful and respectful to Chen Lin. Chen Lin nodded. "Well, everyone, since I'm going back to Xiandao Royal Academy tomorrow, I would like to trouble you to help me refine some elixirs and then send someone to deliver them. Master, please give me your orders." They would never refuse Chen Lin's orders. "How long do you need a Zuaniuan pill, a bottle of ice soul pill, a bottle of breath masking pills, and a few more soul nourishing pills?" Chen Lin asked. They discussed it for a while and replied, "Master Key, except for the Zuaniuan pill, which requires a little effort, the rest of these pills are very simple. Within half a month, we promise to complete them and send them to you, Master." "Half a month, that's about right." Chen Lin thought for a while and agreed. "Okay, then I'll wait for your news. Sorry to bother you all, young master, you are serious. It is our honor to serve you," the disciples of the medicine hall said in fear. Sometimes Chen was too polite to them, which made them feel unreal. Chen did not refine these elixirs for himself, but gave them to several of the Shrek 7 monsters. As long as they are willing to follow him and join the 7 treasures glazed sect, let alone a few ordinary elixirs, they will become immortals. Lin, the god of quality pill, was not stingy about refining it for them. Of course, if you don't join, Lin will not give you a feather. In addition, there are many good things on Tang San's side, and he must try his best to trick them. On the other side, Ning Rongrong, who had left the Qibao glazed sect, was like a wild horse running wild. It was her first time to come to the outside world, and she looked around and was very excited. The jealousy I originally felt because of Lin has been completely forgotten at this moment. This little princess is really a little girl. Yin Yang secretly smiled and shook his head. He had only been out for a long time. Not to mention Ning Fengxi and others. Even her favorite brother Jian was probably forgotten by Jiu Xiao and at this moment went buying. This is what Ning Rongrong did the most all the way here. Anyway, she had money and soul guides to store, so she didn't let go of all kinds of strange things, and she didn't care how much she bought. Of course, such a beautiful little girl, coupled with her wealth, naturally attracted the attention of many evil people. However, she was secretly protected by titled Douluo Yin Yang, and they were all killed by Yin Yang before they could take action. In this way, Ning Rongrong arrived at the legendary Shrek Academy with no danger. No way, this is a Shrek Academy, that brother Jian said. It feels like my cafeteria is more luxurious than this. Looking at the dilapidated gate of the academy, Ning Rongrong secretly sighed. Such a broken academy can really teach students who can rival brother Jian and a talent from the golden generation of Wuhan Palace. You must know that they are all monsters among monsters. Let alone defeating them, it is difficult to find anyone close to them among the younger generation. Chapter 88 Yin Yang's discovery of the 100,000-year-old soul beast. Are you mistaken? This is the so-called Soul Master Academy, and it is an academy that claims that you can become a Viscount upon graduation. Ning Rongrong had the same skeptical attitude as other parents of students who came to sign up. The father of a young man said with some uncertainty, this is what the people from Wuhan Palace said. It shouldn't be wrong, but this academy is a bit too shabby. The young man kept complaining to his father, Dad, I don't want to go to school here. It's too embarrassing. I'd better go to Soto Intermediate Soul Master Academy. After all, I was also a genius when I was in Junior Soul Master Academy. Since you are already here, just wait. Maybe this is just a test and the real academy is not here. The young father had no choice but to persuade. There were definitely a lot of similar words in the queue, and most of the teenagers and their parents had disappointment on their faces. Ning Rongrong had been studying with Lin for so long, and had already learned a little about the ability to observe words and emotions. She noticed that besides her, there were 3 very unusual people in the crowd, and their expressions did not change at all. They were a man and woman who were 3 positions behind her, and a girl who was at the end of the line. Lin taught her, in addition to the drunken immortal moon watching step, the Shushan method of perception, so she had no idea about the soul power. Her perception is extremely keen, and the soul power of these people is only slightly inferior to hers. If these people also join this academy, then she begins to believe that this academy does have the ability to compete with Wuhandian Academy capital. The person in charge of registration was an old man in his 60s. He was lazy and wore very simple clothes. He looked just like an ordinary villager. However, Ning Rongrong still felt that the soul power in this old man was not bad, at least the Soul King above. If a strong Soul King or above can be responsible for registration, among other things, the faculty of this college must be strong. At this time, a young man came to the desk to sign up. The old man said lazily, just put the registration fee of 10 gold soul coins in that box. The young man's accompanying father quickly took out 10 gold soul coins and put them into a box made of several boards nailed to the side. Extend a hand. The young man Ruyan stretched out his hand in front of the old man. The old man squeezed his hand twice, shook his head and said, you are not of your age. You can leave. The Young man was stunned for a moment, then turned to look at his father, obviously hoping that his father would help him speak. His father hurriedly smiled and said, "Teacher, my son just celebrated his 13th birthday. Do you think you can be accommodating?" The old man said a little impatiently, "Don't affect the students behind you, just go away." Seeing that he was so fierce, the father had no choice but to try to get his registration fee back, but the old man refused. "Mubei, someone wants to repay the name fee, please handle it." The old man shouted lazily. A handsome young man jumped down from the tree. "If you want to repay the name fee, you can just hit me, and I'll refund it all." As he spoke, 3 yellow, and purple soul rings rose at his feet. The appearance of the 1,000-year soul ring made the father and son no longer dare to cause trouble, so they had no choice but to run away in despair. "This guy is probably only 2 or 3 years older than my brother Jian. Judging from the fluctuations in his soul power, he is at level 37. Of course he is not as good as brother Jian, but among the younger generation, he is probably very rare." Ning Rongrong said secretly. If the members of the Royal Dao team hadn't eaten fairy grass, their qualifications might not be as good as Mubei. Seeing the troublemakers leaving, the old man stood up and said loudly, "In order to save time, our place is called Shrek Academy. Shrek means monster. We only accept monsters, not ordinary people. This is the purpose of our academy. Anyone who is over 12 years old, or whose soul power does not exceed level 21, should not continue to waste time." Then, the old man's whole body aura erupted, a long stick appeared in his hand, and 6 soul rings, 1 white, 1 yellow, 3 purple and 1 black, rose up. Ning Rongrong suddenly knew that his guess was conservative. This old man was not a soul king at all, but a soul emperor. "It's interesting." Ning Rongrong smiled like a little witch, stepped forward, paid the registration fee, and stretched out a hand. The old man probed a little, and showed a surprised expression. "Excuse me, can I pass the preliminary examination?" Ning Rongrong smiled sweetly. Her appearance immediately attracted the attention of Mubei, a lewd tiger. Seeing Mubei's lewd look, the girl who was originally at the back frowned and clenched her fists. "Does your family know that you are here?" The old man put away the surprise on his face and asked. "They say there is no distinction between education and distinction. As long as I meet the requirements of the college, you have no reason not to accept me, right?" Ning Rongrong did not answer directly, but asked a rhetorical question. This made the old man smile in relief. He was right. They were just an academy, not a sect. There was no reason not to accept qualified students. So he ordered Mubei to take Ning Rongrong aside. Soon, it was the turn of the man and woman that Ning Rongrong had noticed before. They were Tangson and Zhao Wuji, the male and female protagonists of the original novel. After testing and confirming that their ages were consistent, the two released their martial spirits, Blue Silver Grass and Silky Bone Rabbit. Neither of these two spirits were very powerful, but their cultivation speed was so fast, which really surprised the old man. But didn't this meet the standards of their monster academy? If he was surprised, then the other person hiding in the dark was horrified. Yin Yang stared at Zhao Wuji dumbfounded. He hadn't noticed her before, but when she released her martial spirit, her aura was clearly revealed. This little girl turned out to be 100,000-year-old soul beast in the form of a soul beast. She was originally just protecting the little princess, but she didn't expect such an unexpected gain. Yin Yang was so excited that he wanted to take action immediately. The transformed 100,000-year-old soul beast not only represents a 100,000-year-old soul ring, but also a 100,000-year-old soul bone. Ning thinks he is now over 80. If the 9th soul ring absorbs this soft bone rabbit in the future, he will definitely be able to obtain a very powerful 9th soul skill, or he can keep it for Ziocean in the future. No matter which one, their 7 treasures Glazed Clan will definitely increase in strength. But at the moment, when he was about to take action, an even more terrifying aura locked onto him, making Yin Yang, a titled Douluo, dare not move. "Who is it?" Yin Yang looked around, but didn't find anyone. It could be seen that the strength of the person coming was terrifying, far superior to him. It Seems that there are other powerful people who are eyeing this soft bone rabbit, but the 100,000-year-old soul beast cannot be let go easily no matter what. Seeing that Ning Rongrong has entered Shrek Academy, he doesn't want to come here for a while. If he encounters danger, Yin Yang plans to leave to find reinforcement. If he can't defeat him, he will look for Chen Lin. The 100,000-year-old soul beast is the existence that ranks first on the soul master's dream list, and he is determined to do so. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Tang Hao appears and threatens. Yin Yang left Shrek Academy and returned to the Qibao Glazed Sect point. Just when he left Soto City and entered a forest, he suddenly found that he was locked by that aura again. The man just now was following him all the way, and he hadn't noticed it yet. "Senior, please show up and see me," Yin Yang shouted to the surroundings. He guessed that the person who could suppress him to this point must be a certain titled Douluo who has been famous for many years, at least as good as Yu Yuansen. It is only possible at a certain level, but he is somewhat confident in his ability to escape. Even if he is really at that level, he can at least run away if he cannot defeat him. At this time, he can first find out the opponent's situation, so that Chen Lin can deal with him in the future. After all, only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you be victorious in every battle. I don't dare to take it seriously. I should call you senior. A man in black robes appeared on the treetops at some unknown time point. Thanks to Yin Yang's eagle-like martial spirit and sharp eyes, he could clearly see his appearance. He was a man in his 50s. His appearance made Yin Yang's pupils shrink. "You are Haoshan." Douluo Tang Hao. Unexpectedly, Tang Hao, who had been missing for more than 10 years, would suddenly appear in front of him at this time. "Yin Yang, we haven't seen each other for nearly 20 years. Congratulations on breaking the limit and entering the realm of titled Douluo." Tang Hao's voice was very low, completely different from the one Yin Yang met back then. Tang Hao was so high-spirited and domineering back then, but now, it's just two vicissitudes of life. Such a compliment, coming from the mouth of you, the youngest titled Douluo in the continent, feels like a kind of irony. Yin Yang smiled bitterly. Although he successfully became a titled Douluo, he found that he still completely ignored him. Without knowing Tang Hao's strength is conservatively estimated to be above level 95. The reason you showed up today probably wasn't to say congratulations to me. Was it because of that 100,000-year-old soul beast? Yin Yang guessed that, since Tang Hao was also at Shrek Academy just now, it was impossible for Tang Hao not to know what he could discover. Tang Hao nodded. "Yes, I know you definitely want to go back to Qibao Glazed Sect to tell Ning Fengzi about this matter, but I hope you will give me a face today and hide this matter. Tang Hao will definitely be rewarded in the future." "Why, Tang Hao, as a titled Douluo, you don't know what it means to transform into a 100,000-year soul beast, right? It is a 100,000-year soul ring plus a 100,000-year soul bone that can be easily obtained. As long as you have the right, by absorbing the 90-level soul master, he can instantly create a powerful being for the sect that far exceeds ordinary titled Douluo." Yin Yang did not intend to give this face to Tang Hao, a guy who was expelled from the Haoshan sect. "Who are you to order him? So, you don't agree? If that's the case, then let me see the real chapter." Tang Hao suddenly raised his head, with a strong murderous aura all over his body. He is one of the killing gods in the killing city. At this moment, the murderous aura has completely locked onto Yin Yang. Yin Yang did not dare to be careless, and immediately possessed the martial soul, and 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, appeared. Tang Hao saw this and smiled disdainfully. With the clear sky hammer in his hand, the same 9 soul rings appeared, but his soul rings were 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black and 1 red. Who would have thought that on the outskirts of a small Soto city, there would be 2 current titled Douluo confronting each other? Red, 100,000-year-old soul ring. Yin Yang was suddenly shocked. Tang Hao was more than 4 levels higher than him. In the title Douluo field, the gap at each level was extremely huge. He had no confidence to face Tang Hao in the first place. What's even more unexpected is that Tang Hao is actually a title Douluo with a 100,000-year soul ring. I'm afraid that, if they really fight, he won't be able to withstand Tang Hao's 2 strikes. Yin Yang, what I just said is still valid. As long as you swear by your martial spirit today not to expose the 100,000-year-old soul beast, I can let you live. Otherwise, you will have no choice but to die on the spot. Tang Hao, he should be polite first and then fight. After all, he has no enmity with the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, and the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect is too powerful now. He really doesn't want to provoke this enemy, unless necessary. It was already difficult to deal with a spirit all alone, and with the addition of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, he really had no hope, but he would never allow what happened between him and Yin to happen again. To Tangsun and Zhao Wu. Yin Yang was still thinking. He still didn't want to let go of this 100,000-year soul beast. Although he knew that he was no match for Tang Hao, he was of the agility attack type, while Tang Hao was of the strong attack type. If he did not fight to the death, but focused on escaping, but Tang Hao may not be able to catch up with him. As if he had read Yin Yang's thoughts, Tang Hao's body flashed with red light, and a domain spread, instantly covering Yin Yang. I advise you not to think about escaping. This is my god of killing domain. You don't have a domain. You can't resist at all. Your speed will be greatly weakened in my domain. And don't forget the unique skills inherited from my Haotian sect. I can kill you completely with just one hammer. Yin Yang broke out in a cold sweat. The murderous aura in the killing god realm was really too terrifying. And why had he forgotten the Haotian sect's most powerful secret skill, ring explosion? If Tang Hao did everything he could to blow up the 100,000-year soul ring, he might really be killed in an instant. Yin Yang finally cultivated to the level of title Douluo, so he naturally cherished his life. Moreover, if he died, not only would the news not be transmitted back to the sect, but the sect would also lose a title Douluo. The gain would not be worth the loss. Okay, Tang Hao, I will give you this face today. I swear on my own martial soul that only you and I know about today's 100,000-year soul beast. If a third person knows about it from my mouth, I will immediately. The martial soul is broken and dies. Yin Yang made the decision without hesitation. After hearing Yin Yang's oath with his martial soul, Tang Hao took back the killing god domain and the clear sky hammer. If it wasn't for his son, he wouldn't want to be an enemy of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. Even though he could kill Yin Yang today, the Qibao Glazed Sect would definitely risk everything to investigate the truth of the matter. Yin Yang appeared here to protect Ning Rongrong, so they would definitely go to Shrek Academy to investigate the clues. When he sees Zhao Wu and recognizes her, will he continue to kill her? Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo are not as easy to deal with as Yin Yang. Even he is not sure to stay. When the time comes, what will he face? Is the desperate pursuit of the Qibao Glazed Sect. Thank you very much, Mr. Yin Yang. In fact, our Haotian sect and the Qibao Glazed Sect belong to the same 3 sects. They are connected by the same spirit, and should not be enemies. Today we are really helpless. Tang Hao sighed. No one will let go of a 100,000-year-old soul beast. I can understand this. Yin Yang snorted coldly. Although he was very unhappy, he had already sworn the oath, and he could only do it today. Admit defeat. It seems that this 100,000-year soul beast can only belong to the Haotian sect. If he had known this, he should have brought Sword Douluo with him that day. If he were here, it would not matter if it was just Tang Hao with a 100,000-year soul ring. Now Chen Lin is a 98th level title Douluo. The gap is enough to make up for the lack of soul rings. Moreover, the 7 kills sword technique and the 7 kills domain are no weaker than Tang Hao's Haotian sect stunts and the god of death domain. Chapter 90. The grudge between Tang Hao and Wuhan Palace. Tang Hao looked at Yin Yang's unhappy expression and said, "You seem to think that I kept Zhao Wu for her soul ring and soul bone, isn't it?" Yin Yang asked. "Besides this, what other reasons could it be?" Yin Yang, do you want to hear my story? Tang Hao suddenly became depressed and seemed to be lost in memories. Now that Yin Yang had sworn, he had nothing to hide. Okay, we have nothing to do anyway. Let's talk while walking. Yin Yang walked back in the direction of Shrek Academy. He had already sworn not to notify the sect, so there was no point in going back. It was better to continue to protect Ning Rongrong here. Tang Hao nodded and walked side by side with Yin Yang. On the way, he told Yin Yang all the grudges he had with Wuhan Palace, including the fact that his wife was a 100,000-year-old beast and was sacrificed to him. However, Yin Yang didn't show any surprise after hearing this, which made Tang Hao a little confused. After entering the title Douluo realm, has your character become so much stronger? Such a thing can't make you. There was a hint of movement. Yin Yang shook his head. That's not true. I'm naturally surprised, but I've been this surprised before. I didn't expect that the sect master's guess was completely correct. After becoming a titled Douluo, Yin Yang was considered to be the highest ranking member of the sect. In addition, he had been working diligently for the sect for decades, so Ning Fengzi had nothing to hide from him. His speculations about Tang Hao's grievances with Wuhan Palace. There was also the matter of Chen Lin's twin martial souls, which he had already known about. Sect Master, are you talking about Ning Fengzi? Did he actually know what happened by guessing? He is indeed the wisest sect leader. Tang Hao said in surprise. Yes, the sect master also speculated that Tang San, who is with Zhao Wu, is your son, and he is a twin martial spirit, right? When Tang Hao heard this, he was even more horrified. He had never met Ning Fengzi in the past 10 years, but he knew everything about himself. Seeing Tang Hao's expression, Yin Yang said proudly, Tang Hao, in terms of strength, the sect master may not be as good as you, but in terms of wisdom, you are only 100,000 years old soul ring away from our sect master. He is convinced. Tang Hao rarely admires people. Now Ning Fengzi is the second in terms of wisdom. The previous one is the master. So Yin Yang, you should understand the reason why I don't move Zhao Wu. I don't want to. Zhao San and Zhao Wu will follow in the footsteps of Yin and I. Yin Yang nodded. I understand, but even if I don't say anything, other Soul Douluo and titled Douluo will definitely not give up if they see that girl. To be honest, I don't know what happened back then. I think Wuhan Palace is at fault. After all, it is a rule of this world for soul masters to hunt soul beasts. Even if that soul beast is your wife, then you are wrong about me. Tang Hao suddenly clenched his fists. Yin was his opponent and would not tolerate anyone's nonsense. You are right. As a husband, it is natural to protect your wife. In the final analysis, there is no right or wrong in this matter between you and Wu Hundian. It is just a matter of stance. Yin Yang saw it very clearly. His words made Tang Hao's clenched fists loosen. Tang Hao fell into deep thought. How could he not think of this in these years? But so what, if he was right? Wuhan Palace killed him. His wife was a fact, and there was no way he wouldn't take revenge. At worst, when they attack Wuhan Palace in the future, they won't be fighting against evil from a so-called righteous standpoint, but purely to avenge their wives. In fact, these thoughts of Yin Yang were said by Tianlin. The most dissatisfying point of Tianlin in the original work is that Tang San has no problem with Wuhan Palace, but why does he have to set himself on the moral high ground and bluntly say that as a mother? Can't you avenge Zhao Wu? Standing up for your family is not a shameful thing. Wu Hundian is just ambitious, but not everyone is evil. At least in these years, Tianlin found that Gan Ringsu was really kind to the common people. In the name of Zuking, she often prayed for the people. Under her governance, the lives of the civilians in the Xiandao Empire had improved visibly, while the rights of the nobles continued to weaken. Now the world is spreading rumors about Prince Zuking's sagacity, which is the best evidence. Even if Tianlin wants to be her enemy in the future, he will not say anything about punishing rape and eliminating evil, just because Wuhan Palace cannot let go of the Qibao Glazed sect who does not surrender. And he simply wants to protect his sect. The positions of both parties just a problem. Over the years, Tang Hao has actually figured this out, but he doesn't know if Tang San will be able to figure it out in the future. While the two were talking, they had returned to Shrek Academy. At this time, Tang San and others had entered the 4th level. The examiner of the 4th level is Fu Doming Wang Zhao Wuji, and he seems to be planning to test these children himself. Seeing this scene, Yin Yang and Tang Hao both clenched their fists. With level 76 soul power, they had the nerve to bully 4 children who were not even level 30. It was really shameless. Tang Hao, after these children are finished testing, I plan to take Zhao Wuji to play in the nearby woods at night. Are you interested in joining me? Yin Yang smiled dangerously. Since Thunder Eagle has invited me, Tang Hao is not honored. Tang Hao happened to have the same idea. Poor Zhao Wuji doesn't know yet, but he is about to experience double the happiness of the original work. Zhao Wuji gave Tangson and others a moment to discuss tactics. Tangson and Zhao Wu introduced themselves first. They were both level 29, just like in the original work. The last girl with the hot figure is Zhu Zuking, the 27th level agility attack type war spirit master, who has not changed at all. Only Ning Rongrong shocked Tangson and others when she introduced herself. Ning Rongrong, level 29 auxiliary great soul master, martial spirit 7 treasure glazed tile tower, 7. Treasures Glazed Pagoda. Is it the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile Pagoda that is said to be the strongest auxiliary weapon spirit in the Pan continent? And you are actually level 29, just like me and my mistress. Zhao Wu said in surprise. It is a fact recognized throughout the continent that auxiliary martial spirits are more difficult to cultivate than combat martial spirits, but isn't Ning Rongrong's cultivation speed too fast? When the original work appeared, Ning Rongrong was at level 26, which is actually in line with common sense. However, in recent years, although she has not taken the real elixir to repair the sky, Chen Lin still often refines some auxiliary exercises for her of ordinary elixirs. In addition, she worked harder than in the original work, so she was able to reach such a high level. If she hadn't spent a lot of time practicing distraction control, she would have already broken through level 30 at this moment. You don't have to look at me like this. This is all because of the help of my brother Jan. Let's pass the test first. Ning Rongrong said a little shyly as so many people stared at her, although everyone was curious about who brother Jan was talking about in Ning Rongrong's words. Now was indeed not the time to get to the bottom of it. The most urgent task was to find a way to survive a stick of incense in Zhao Wuji's hands. Chapter 91 Zhao Wuji's assessment. Let me introduce to you the characteristics of Teacher Zhao first. Teacher Zhao has a powerful beast martial spirit and a powerful diamond bear. It combines offense and defense with no flaws. Originally, speed was Teacher Zhao's weakness, but there is a huge gap in your soul power. This weakness is also its useless. Damube introduced to the 4 of them. Fortunately, your martial arts match is pretty good. Let's discuss a strategy quickly. Otherwise, let alone a stick of incense, I'm afraid you won't even be able to withstand his first wave of attacks. To be honest, Damube is not optimistic about the 4 of them. Whether they can pass depends on how much water Zhao Wuji puts in. In fact, Tangson and the others had nothing to discuss. The 4 positions of strong attack, agility attack, control, and support were just a matter of doing their part. Soon, the 4 of them stood in front of Zhao Wuji, and Ning Rongrong took the lead in taking action. The 7 treasures turn out to contain colored glaze. Rongrong's body floated and spun around in place. 7 colored light was released from her body, and a pagoda with shining treasures and impressive nobility appeared in her hands. The 7 treasures are famous, and 1 day's power. Hurry up on the 2nd day. With the help of distraction control, Ning Rongrong carried out precise amplification on the 3 of them. Tangson and Zhao Wu were for strength, and Zhu Zuking was for speed. This soul power saving amplification method could maximize her auxiliary effect. Good guy. Among this year's candidates, there is actually one from the Qibao Glazed Sect, and he has also learned distraction control. Not bad. Not bad. Old Ghost Flanders is going to be excited this time. Zhao Wuji laughed and raised his hands at the same time. The incense was lit and placed on the ground. At this time, Zhao Wuji immediately moved. He squatted with both legs and smashed his fists toward the ground. No, Tangson said anxiously. He instantly understood what Zhao Wuji was thinking. The master had also told him that if one day he met the spirit master of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, he would immediately kill the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. The Soul Master solved it. Zhao Wuji obviously understood this well. As a khaki wave attacked Ning Rongrong, Tangson quickly stretched out the blue-silver grass, intending to bring Ning Rongrong over, but Ning Rongrong's movements were actually faster than him. Her steps were strange, and with a few transformation-like movements, Zhao Wuji's attack completely failed. Well, this is it? Zhao Wuji frowned, hit the ground several times again, and released 4 waves in one breath point, but every time, Ning Rongrong seemed to be able to predict the attack point in advance, and easily dodge with her exquisite body skills. This movement technique is even more bizarre and unpredictable than my ghostly shadow. Moreover, Ning Rongrong seems to have detection soul skills. Combined with this movement technique, it perfectly complements each other. The foundation of the 7 treasures glazed sect is indeed profound. Tang Hao sighed secretly in his heart. He thought this was a unique skill inherited from the Qibao glazed sect. In fact, Tianlin taught Ning Rongrong the detection technique of the Shushan spies and the high-level body technique Zuxan Wangayu step. The purpose was to allow Ning Rongrong to survive better on the battlefield point. Because Zhao Wuji only attacked Ning Rongrong, he quickly found an opening for the other 3. Tang Hao released the blue-silver grass and immediately entangled Zhao Wuji. At the same time, Zhao Wu attacked from the front, and Zhu Zuking attacked from the side. The 3 of them joined forces, allowing Zhao Wuji to experience what it meant to be disgraced. HMPH, this Zhao Wuji, I must kill him. At this time, Yin Yang was furious in the dark. Zhao Wuji, a majestic soul saint, actually attacked his little princess so many times right from the start. Yin Yang, calm down, your little princess is fine. Tang Hao advised him from the side point, but the next moment, he suddenly saw Zhao Wuji change direction and rush towards Tang Hao. Since the support could not be solved for the time being, it was the same as solving the control first. The control system Soul Master was the brain of a team. The head stopped functioning, and as the limb Soul Master such as strong attack and agile attack are naturally useless. The second soul skill, the powerful Vajra Palm. This time Zhao Wuji even used his soul skill. If this palm hit, Tang Hao, a mere great soul master, would probably lose his fighting ability immediately. Zhao Wuji, you are very good. Tang Hao, who was still trying to persuade Yin Yang just now, even held the clear sky hammer in his hand. The Tang family's ancestral double standard problem was committed again. The protection of these title Douluos was completely the same virtue. The 7 treasures are famous, and the second is speed. At the critical moment, Ning Rongrong also applied the speed increase to Tang Hao. Tang Hao felt his body light up, and sighed that Ning Rongrong's assist ability was simply perfect, giving him the most appropriate boost when he needed it most. Very good. Zhu and Jade Hand, control the crane and capture the dragon, and shadow the shadow. Tang Hao performed 3 Tang Sect stunts in one breath. First, he used his mysterious Jade Hands to resist Zhao Wuji's attack head-on. Then he used controlling crane and capturing dragon to gradually remove his strength. And finally, he quickly retreated with the help of accelerating ghost shadows, avoiding Zhao Wuji's attack range. Dragon, Beard Needle, go. After dodging the attack, he immediately counterattacked. Tang San's combat awareness was very good. The golden-haired crystal dragon whisker needle was a powerful hidden weapon that Tang San had just obtained not long ago. Moreover, after Ning Rongrong's strength and speed were doubled, his strength and speed in shooting hidden weapons were both improved. Zhao Wuji didn't care about such a small needle at all. With his defensive power, what would happen if he was pricked by a needle? But he didn't expect that. As soon as the dragon's beard needle entered his body, he curled up, and along with his muscles, he was shocked. He brings tremendous pain. The 7 treasures are famous, and the second is speed. At this time, Ning Rongrong used speed on himself, and at the same time, gave Zhao Wu a level, and withdrew all the strength increases from every 1 point. Tang San glanced at her, and immediately understood her thoughts. If they collided head-on, they would definitely not be Zhao Wuji's opponent. Now that he was injured by the dragon beard needle, the rest of the battle would focus on dodging attacks. After all, as long as he could survive one stick, when the time comes, they win. Apart from Zhao Wu, among the other 3, Zhu Zuking was extremely fast, while Ning Rongrong and Tang San had extremely weird footwork. The 4 of them were running around all over the place, and Zhao Wuji simply couldn't catch them all at the same time. There are so many little monsters, but I underestimated you. In that case, the 5th soul skill, Gravity Squeeze. Zhao Wuji became so angry that he even used his 10,000 year soul skill. His 5th soul skill was a super powerful control soul skill. Starting from the center of his body, it first sent out huge pressure in all directions, and it was like a black hole. Draw all opponents towards you. Facing this move, Tangson and others had no choice. Even if their body skills were exquisite, they couldn't use it under such suction. Damn it, the number 1 soul skill of blue silver grass is entanglement. As a control soul master, Tangson had to find ways to buy time. He tied everyone with blue silver grass and slowed them down as much as possible to be squeezed and attracted by gravity speed. A lot of time has passed. As long as they survive this moment, they can still win. Chapter 92. Past the test, Yin Yang and Tang Hao appeared. The 7 treasures are famous. 1 day's power. Upon seeing this, Ning Rongrong withdrew all her soul power from the others without hesitation and focused on assisting Tangson alone. Haha, very good. Even in the face of my 10,000 year soul skill, they will not give up at all. The perseverance of these little monsters is very good. Zhao Wuji nodded secretly. Since Ning Rongrong is much better than the original work, this battle is completely different from the original. The performance of the 4 people at this moment is enough to satisfy Zhao Wuji. He originally only planned to use the first 4 soul skills, but now he used his 5th soul skill to barely suppress them. It could be said that the children had already won without even having to endure a stick of incense. However, as a soul saint, Zhao Wuji also wants to save face. He has used his 10,000 year soul skills. If he loses again, how will he be able to survive in the academy in the future? Gravity. Squeeze. Zhao Wuji shouted and used stronger soul power at this time. Tangson couldn't hold on any longer, and the 4 of them were sucked in by Zhao Wuji at the same time. The power of the 7th ringed soul saint was indeed far beyond that of a great soul master like him. Zhao Wuji at the beginning didn't even have 20% of his strength. Even if it is used now, it will not exceed 4 levels. Powerful. Vajra palm. Zhao Wuji raised a pair of fleshy palms, preparing to slap them all away. It's over. No, it can't end like this. Tangson was not willing to admit defeat. He was about to use more hidden weapons, even his own clear sky hammer, but at this moment, he saw Ning Rongrong's figure suddenly disappear. This made Tangson slightly stunned, and he put down the trump card he was about to use. Although Zhao Wuji's powerful Vajra palm successfully stunned Zhao Wu and Zhu's Yuking, it failed to hit Ning Rongrong. Teacher. Zhao, 1 stick of incense has passed, and I'm still standing. Do we pass this assessment? Ning Rongrong walked over slowly, with a smile on his face. Unexpectedly, in a battle, the person who emerged unscathed in the end was actually her, an auxiliary soul master. This was also thanks to the various secret skills taught to her by Brother Jian and the soul bones he helped her win. Well, you won. Zhao Wuji was straightforward. Although he was unhappy, a loss was a loss. He acknowledged it, but there was one thing he needed to confirm. What I sucked just now was just your clone, right? But logically speaking, the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda does not have clone type soul skills, so you still have soul bones. Ning Rongrong nodded. Using all her skills, she couldn't hide it anymore. Yes, I own a right leg bone of an amethyst civet cat, which gives me the clone skills of an amethyst civet cat. That's good. The clone can greatly increase the survival rate of auxiliary soul masters like you on the battlefield. Besides, you also have such weird footwork. Zhao Wuji said with satisfaction. Then I declare that you 4 little monsters is my new student at Shrek Academy. After saying that, Zhao Wuji was about to leave. He had no choice but to use his 10,000 year soul skill and still lose. It was so embarrassing. Now he just wanted to bury himself in bed and not see anyone. Teacher. Zhao, wait a minute. You were just injured by my dragon beard needle. This needle can only be taken out using a special method. Otherwise the injured part of the flesh must be completely cut off. Tangson walked up to Zhao Wuji, using Zuanayu's hand to suck out the dragon's beard needle from his body. Zhao Wuji nodded to Tangsan and left directly. Not long after, Damubei called Oscar over. His sausages were extremely useful for healing and restoring soul power. Unfortunately, the soul curse was too wretched. Ning Rongrong and the other girls would rather recuperate slowly. and don't want to try this thing. Point in the dead of night, the entire Shrek Academy was completely quiet. The one-day entrance examination was all over. Unfortunately, except for Ning Rongrong, no one else had successfully entered the school. Even if someone could enter the 4th round, they would not be able to survive 1 or 2 moves under Daemube. Point however, this is already the class with the largest number of students recruited by Shrek Academy in recent years. At this time, Zhao Wuji was alone in the room, a little unhappy. As the deputy dean, he naturally had his own residence point, but he never expected that he was just planning to stretch his muscles due to itchy hands. But he was so embarrassed that he couldn't even win against a few children. Point at the same time, he also greatly admired the 4 of them, especially Tang San and Ning Rongrong. Although Tang San's martial spirit was weak, he had a strong sense of fighting, and his talent surpassed that of Daemube. He would definitely become a strong man in the future. Point as for Ning Rongrong, the best way to describe her is to be unique. She not only possesses the strongest auxiliary weapon martial soul, but also masters distraction control, induction methods and weird body skills. She is also a little girl. He has a 10,000-year-old soul bone at his young age, which means he has already created the prototype of the future #1 auxiliary soul master in the mainland. Point he made a fist with his right hand and punched it into the palm of his left hand. Zhao Wuji sighed helplessly. I'm unlucky. I met such a group of little monsters. It seems that I have to train them well in the future. Nothing can be done without polishing it. Well, after saying the last sentence, Zhao Wuji couldn't help but reveal a somewhat evil smile on his face. Zhao Wuji. Just as Zhao Wuji was thinking about how to concoct these little monsters in the future, suddenly there were 2 people calling his name in unison from behind. Point you must know that as a 76th level soul saint, he is a high level existence in the entire Douluo Continent soul master world. Within 100 meters, even the sound of falling leaves cannot escape his ears at this time. He did not feel that there was anyone around him, but the 2 voices pierced directly into his ears, and it sounded like they were talking in his ears. This kind of strength has made Zhao Wu extremely vigilant. Who? Zhao Wuji stood up with a cold look in his eyes. When he entered the world of soul masters, his reputation was not very good, and he had made many enemies. He had to suspect that someone was coming to seek revenge. Come out. 2 vague auras locked onto Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji immediately concentrated his soul power, jumped out of the window at the same time, and headed towards the direction where the sound came from. Come out. I know you are here. Zhao Wuji said cautiously, and immediately completed the possession of the martial soul. The 7 souls circled the body and moved up and down, looking particularly dazzling. 7 rings soul sage. I didn't expect that the famous Fudoming King suddenly disappeared from the soul master world a few years ago, but he was hiding in this small Shrek Academy. Yin Yang didn't know when he appeared in the world. Zhao Wuji was so frightened that he broke into a cold sweat. Forget about the voice just now, but now, someone was actually so close to him. He hadn't discovered how strong the person was yet. Isn't it great? Let's just compete with him. I haven't moved my muscles for a long time. At this time, another figure appeared on the treetops directly in front of him. Before he could react. Chapter 93 Zhao Wuji fights alone against 2 titled Douluo. The 2 of them approached Zhao Wuji one after another. At the same time, soul rings began to appear one after another. First there were 2 yellow and 2 purple. Seeing this, Zhao Wuji smiled disdainfully. That's it. Then there were 3 black soul rings, and his face gradually became heavy. It seemed that he should not be careless in today's battle. When the 2 last soul rings were revealed, especially when he saw Tang Hao's last red 9th soul ring, Zhao Wuji had only one thought in his mind. Holy shit, don't come over here. Title: Douluo, or 2. Old Zhao was completely stunned. No matter how troublesome he was in the past, he was not a fool. The most he provoked were people with similar strength to him. Pengsi titled Douluo. That was I think my life is too long. The previous domineering appearance disappeared in an instant, and Zhao Wuji quickly bent down and saluted. Excuse me, which 2 seniors are here? Please don't make such a joke with me. How can I be qualified to compete with you? Yin Yang said calmly. What's wrong with you? You bullied those children during the day, and you did a good job of bullying them, especially when you greeted my little princess. I saw it all. That's right. So let us bully you too. Of course, you can think that the two of us are bullying the weak. Tang Hao was completely shameless in order to protect his calf. This is different from those in the sect. The old man is exactly the same point. A huge hammer appeared in his hand, and he was seen approaching Zhao Wuji step by step. Point at this moment, Yin Yang looked behind him. Now that you're here, come out. Do you think you can hide in front of our two titled Douluo? Just as he finished speaking, a figure quickly emerged from the woods. He was slender and wearing a pair of glasses. Seeing this person, Zhao Wuji seemed to have found his backbone. Boss, these two seniors. The visitor waved his hand to Zhao Wuji, indicating that he did not need to speak, but at the same time, facing the pressure brought by the two titled Douluo, he had to summon his own martial spirit, a huge cat eagle, and he also, like Zhao Wuji, he is a 7-ring soul saint. Oh, he actually has an eagle type martial spirit like me. This 4-eyed cat eagle is quite suitable for my investigation haul. Yin Yang said. I have seen Haoshan crowned and Thunder Eagle crowned. The man bowed slightly and saluted the two of them. He summoned the martial spirit just to withstand the pressure and had no intention of taking action. Zhao Wuji took a deep breath. After listening to his companion's words, he finally knew who the two people in front of him were. His heart suddenly contracted, and he didn't even know when he had offended these two terrifying guys. The black-robed man in front of him was a titled Douluo who was known as the most powerful person in the Soul Master world. His martial soul development direction was exactly the same as his own, but compared with him, his own strength was just the light of a firefly. Although Thunder Eagle Douluo's reputation is far inferior to that of Haoshan Douluo, his strength cannot be faked, and he belongs to the agility attack system. If he wants to sneak attack him, he may not even know how he will die. The most important thing is that the two people in front of him are the protector Douluo of the two largest sects in the world respectively. Zhao Wuji was not allowed to hide in this academy as a teacher because he offended the Wuhan Palace. Now if he were to the Haoshan sect and the Qibao Glazed sect were offended, so looking at the entire Douluo continent, I'm afraid there really is no place for him. Tang Hao glanced at the visitor coldly and said, no need to be polite, Yin Yang and I are here to cause trouble. Cat Eagle Martial Spirit, level 78, is worthy of Fran, who was the main battler in the Golden Iron Triangle. The Shrek Academy belongs to you. Flanders nodded. Yes, your majesty. I don't know what happened to Zhao Wuji that offended these two adults. Can you please give me some mercy and let him live? Don't worry, we have no intention of killing him. As long as he can survive the attack of Tang Hao and I, we will turn around and leave. After all, my princess has been bullied. As a grandfather, I will naturally come out to seek justice. This is a matter of course. Yin Yang was possessed by the Thunder Eagle, and the strong thunder caused the color of the world to change. Hearing this, Flanders turned away unfaithfully, obviously not planning to care about Zhao Wuji anymore. Since your two highnesses just want to give him some advice, then please do so. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang Hao and Yin Yang were seen rushing towards Zhao Wuji, as if they were teleporting. Boom boom, boom boom boom. With a scream, Zhao Wuji endured double the happiness of the original work. Flanders, who was spreading his wings on the side, couldn't help but cover his eyes and turned his head away, not wanting to look any further. In fact, there was no need to light a stick of incense at all. The two titled Douluo attacked together, and the entire battle was over in just 3 breaths. Zhao Wuji was lying on the ground, his head was completely swollen, and his eyes had turned black. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and he was lying on the ground breathing heavily. After the war, Tang Hao told Zhao Wuji and Flanders something, and then flew away with Yin Yang. Only then did Flanders dare to step forward and help Zhao Wuji up. Zhao Wuji complained, Flanders, you are so unloyal. You just stood aside and watched the show. If it weren't for the fact that your two nobles had no murderous intentions towards me, I'm afraid my body is already cold. What do you know? If they want to kill you, add me and we won't have to die. You should be lucky. Today, the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect only has the Thunder Eagle crown. If it's the Sword crown, then you will probably be missing at least one arm. He has lost his legs, and there is also Haoshan Crown Prince, who is a ruthless person who even dares to beat the Pope. What taboos would there be for a person like him to do something? Flanders replied angrily, I'm also unlucky. Who knew that among the 4 children who came to take the exam, 2 of them actually came from the first and second largest sects in the world? You said there won't be another blow lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family among them. That way if so, boss, I'm going to resign and run away. Zhao Wuji was already shaken out of his psychological shadow. Yu Unsun, the Thunder Douluo of the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus family, is not a good-tempered person. This person hates evil very much. With Zhao Wuji's former evil reputation on the mainland, he cannot guarantee that his majesty will be the same as today's Haoshan Douluo and Lei. Eagle Douluo was equally merciful. Flanders glanced at him helplessly. What are you thinking about? With just a Haoshan sect and a 7 treasure glazed tile sect, our Shrek Academy is extremely lucky to have the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family. Flender helped Zhao Wuji back to the academy. It was already late at night. None of the students in Shrek Academy knew that so many things had happened in this seemingly peaceful night. As for Zhao Wuji being beaten into a pig-headed face, I'm afraid it would be difficult to recover in a short time. Chapter 94 Ning Rongrong rejects Oscar and the rules of the Qibao Glazed Sect. Early the next morning, Flanders summoned the Shrek 7 Devils and started their first class. However, in fact, the class in the morning was only for Ning Rongrong and Oscar, and the others were in the evening. The first lesson is very simple. Run in a circle. Run 20 times around the village. The auxiliary soul master must learn to escape. This is common sense. It's just that this lap is a bit long. With the physical strength of the auxiliary soul master, it is impossible to complete it. Fortunately, Oscar, his sausage, can replenish his physical strength and soul power. Ning Rongrong couldn't do it, because she was not willing to eat sausages made with such a wretched soul curse. In fact, Flanders had no hope at all that Ning Rongrong could finish the race. He saw that Ning Rongrong was a rich young lady, and he just wanted to give her the courage to kill her once Ning Rongrong couldn't stand it anymore and ran away. Flanders prepared a lot of trash talk to taunt her, but this time, he underestimated Ning Rongrong. It is true that Ning Rongrong could not finish the whole race, but she would not run away halfway. Under Chen Lin's guidance, she also had the ability to never give up until the last moment. Belief. Oh, Rongrong, you can't do this. Why don't you just eat one of my sausages? Otherwise, no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to finish the whole race. Oscar looked at Ning Rongrong, who was sweating profusely, and kept comforting him. Ning Rongrong glanced at him coldly. That's what you called Rongrong too? You and I are not that close. Just call me classmate Ning. As for your sausage, keep it for yourself. I won't touch it. Don't say that. In the next few years, we will always be together. Let's get familiar with each other first. Oscar has been following Dame Qibao year-round, and has long since learned his shameless tactics for picking up girls. Ning Rongrong immediately understood that this guy was attracted to her. She was already 12 years old. Because she was a soul master, she developed faster than ordinary people. Now she was already tall and graceful, with such admiring eyes. She had never seen her when she was in the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. She had seen her a lot, but everyone in the Qibao Glazed Sect knew about Chen Lin's existence, so no one dared to flirt with her so blatantly. Do you like me? Ning Rongrong asked directly. Hey, you noticed it? To be honest, this is the first time I've seen a girl as beautiful as you. Oscar blushed. He looked mature, but he was different from Dame Qibao Hangjin, who had experienced many battles. In fact, he is still an innocent virgin. Then, I advise you to give up. First of all, I already have someone I like, my brother Jian, and according to the rules of my Qibao Glazed Sect, the person I want to marry in the future can only be a fighting soul master, so between us time is impossible. Ning Rongrong decisively rejected Oscar, perhaps because of the little witch character of Ning Rongrong in the original work. Even if she didn't like Oscar at first, she wouldn't have said it so directly. Instead, she thought it was quite interesting to hang him like an idiot like this. But Ning Rongrong, who has now learned to respect others, it will give him unrealistic hopes. When Oscar heard this, he froze on the spot. The goddess already had a sweetheart, and because he was also an auxiliary soul master, He did not comply with the rules of the 7 treasures glazed sect. The beautiful first love was broken before it even started. Ning Rongrong stopped paying attention to him and ran forward on her own. At this time, not far from Soto City, a young man also came to this city. It was Tianlin. He had already obtained the elixirs he needed from the disciples of the Qibao glazed sect. It just so happened that Kinming was planning to bring the Imperial fighting team to the Soto City Great Soul fighting field for training, just like in the original work, so he took the lead and arrived early. His purpose was naturally to meet Ning Rongrong. He was worried that Ning Rongrong would be bullied at Shrek Academy, especially Dame Yubei. If he threatened Rongrong like in the original work, Tianlin would kill him in a minute point. After asking passers-by for the address, Tianlin walked directly in the direction of Shrek Academy. At noon, Ning Rongrong and Oscar returned to the academy. Flanders asked, "Have you all finished running?" "Yes, we have all finished the race," Oscar said. In fact, he was the only one who finished the race, but he was worried that Ning Rongrong would be punished, so he lied. Even if Ning Rongrong didn't like him, after all, he was his first girl. "I like you. Don't need to hide it for me. I'll tell the dean that 20 laps is too long. I didn't finish the whole race. On the 17th lap, I couldn't hold on any longer." Ning Rongrong said bluntly, "Well, I understand. I will work hard to make up for the shortcomings in this area in the future." Flanders was uncharacteristically not blaming him at all, leaving Oscar confused. "I feel strange. Why am I not angry?" Seeing Oscar's expression, Flanders couldn't understand his thoughts. He smiled and said, "Actually, I'm also very strange. Rongrong, as a rich lady, but I didn't expect to have such perseverance. I really didn't give up until my physical strength was completely exhausted. If you don't have enough physical strength, you can practice, but this kind of perseverance is the key to becoming stronger. You make me very satisfied. How can I be angry? This is what my brother Jan taught me. He said that you can only know where your limit is if you try hard. People who give up halfway will never find their limit, and only when they find their limit can they go break it and move towards a higher realm." Ning Rongrong mentioned Tianlin with a look of pride on his face. "It's this brother Jan again." Tangsen was very curious as to who the brother Jan Ning Rongrong was talking about. She said before that the reason why her soul power was so deep was because of this man's help, and now she said this. If he is philosophical, he is definitely not a simple person, and he would really like to make acquaintance with him. "Brother Jan," Flanders said thoughtfully. "Rongrong, are you talking about the number 1 genius of your Qibao glazed sect, Jianjun, Jun Tianlin? Because Tianlin once easily defeated the golden generation of Wuhan Palace in the title ceremony. His reputation has already spread. In the past few years, Chen Lin has taken Tianlin out for training from time to time. After all, he has to practice for 7 years. Killing swordsmanship cannot be done without killing people. Nowadays, many bandits, bullies, and even evil soul masters have fallen victim to the Tianlin sword point with his punishment of rape and evil during this period. The people gave him the reputation of Sword Lord. As a disciple of Kendo Chen Lin, he is worthy of his name. Ning Rongrong nodded. "Yes, he is my brother Jan. In terms of genius, no one in the world can compare with him." Seeing Ning Rongrong's high-spirited look when she mentioned Tianlin, Oscar's heart felt sour. He still couldn't see it now. Ning Rongrong said that she had a sweetheart, and it was not just to reject him. In her heart, she really felt already filled with a figure. After the disbandment, Oscar approached Flanders still unwillingly. "Teacher, I want to ask you something. Is there a rule in the Qibao glazed sect that their direct disciples can only find war soul masters as their spouses?" Hearing this, Flanders guessed that this guy was attracted to Ning Rongrong. He could only advise, "Yes, the Qibao glazed sect does have this rule, and to be honest, I think this rule is right. The support team is tied together and cannot protect the other party at all. Oscar, in fact, I hope that your partner will also be a fighting spirit master in the future. Rongrong is not a good match for you. Besides, Rongrong didn't lie about that Tianlin. He is indeed a rare genius in ancient and modern times. He can defeat the 3 members of Wuhandian, known as the Golden Generation, without the ability to fight back. This shows how strong he is. Do you want to fight with him? If we fight, I'm afraid there's no hope. I understand. I'll go down first, teacher. Oscar gave up completely and returned to his room in despair, looking at Oscar's lonely back. Flender had no idea what to do. He could give guidance on cultivation issues, but he was completely at a loss when it came to matters between men and women. He just hoped that Oscar could come out of it as soon as possible. Chapter 95. Tianlin comes to Shrek to suppress Dame Yubei. Shrek Academy. This appearance is more shabby than I thought. Tianlin followed the direction pointed by passers-by and finally arrived at the gate of the academy point. But compared with Dao Royal Academy, the difference between here and Dao Royal Academy is simply the difference between heaven and doghouse. I don't know how a wealthy lady like Rongrong can persist here. Hey, who are you? You dare to talk nonsense here? Dame Yubei, who happened to be about to go out for a walk, heard Tianlin sigh and became angry. Tianlin looked at this person and said, long blonde hair, evil eyes, and twin pupils. Are you Dame Yubei? Oh, you actually know me. Could it be that you came to join my Shrek Academy? Then let me tell you, the registration ended as early as yesterday. People who are even late to register are not qualified to enter my Shrek Academy, let alone unauthorized comment. As he spoke, Dame Yubei's whole body shone with golden light. Boy, apologize for what you just said. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Tianlin smiled nonchalantly. Okay, I'm rude, but I'm right. This place is really not that good. I don't think there are any precious teaching facilities, not even the most basic mimicry training ground. Asshole. Dame Yubei lost his temper and punched Tianlin. Because he punched in anger, he used at least 7 points of his strength, and the remaining 3 points were due to Tianlin's excess of force. For the sake of youth, I chose to be merciful. Tianlin stretched out his palm and took Dame Yubei's fist easily. You're too impulsive. I just said that the training environment here is poor, and I didn't mean to belittle Shrek. Could it be that whether your college is excellent is just based on its level of luxury? Conclusive. What? Dame Yubei couldn't believe that his punch with 70% power was caught so easily, and the opponent didn't even release his martial spirit. Taking a few steps back, Dame Yubei assumed a serious fighting posture and introduced himself. Dame Yubei, level 37 attack type fighting soul master, white tiger with evil eyes. Who are you? A formal self-introduction meant that Dame Yubei placed Tianlin on the same level as him. If you want to know who I am, let me see your level first. Tianlin hooked his hand. Since you didn't tell me, I'll hit you and tell you. The first soul skill, White Tiger Protective Barrier. Dame Yubei's first soul skill can enhance his attack, defense, and strength by 50% each point. This increase has exceeded the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda before the 4th ring. Of course, it can only increase itself, and it consumes a lot of soul power, and the duration is not too long. He punched out. This time Dame Yubei used all his strength, and with the blessing of the White Tiger's protective barrier, the power of his fist was 150%. This time, Tianlin did not feel as comfortable as before. Instead, he also stood up and punched Dame Yubei. The strong punches from both sides shook the air around him. As a result, the two of them each took 2 steps back. Dame Yubei was horrified. This guy's power is too strong. What kind of martial spirit is he? His body is so amazing. Is he a blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex? Tianlin was also thinking, not bad power. The power of the Cheyenne Heng Soul Lord back then was just like this. This evil-eyed white tiger is indeed not inferior to the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let me try again. The second soul skill, White Tiger's Fierce Light Wave. The second soul ring lit up, and Dame Yubei's body instantly gathered a huge white light. As he roared, a ball of milky white light erupted from him. Spit out from the mouth. This is a long-range energy-based powerful attack skill. This move is not bad. Then you can also take a move from me. Use your sword to subdue demons. Tianlin used his fingers as a sword and waved out a burst of strong sword energy. Sword control and demon subduing is a relatively high level sword skill among the Shushan sword art. It can control powerful sword energy. Countless sword energy arises from the body. It can turn one sword into 10,000 swords, and it can also gather energy into a sword to kill enemies. What Tianlin chose at this time was to gather ki into a sword, a virtual sword formed by sword ki, spinning and flying towards the white tiger's fierce light wave. The powerful attack power actually instantly penetrated the light and pierced Damu Bei. How is that possible? Damu Bei had never been so completely defeated in terms of attack power, and he couldn't believe it for a moment. Seeing that the air sword was about to pass through his shoulder, he came back to his senses and saw that Damu Bei's muscles swelled and black horizontal lines appeared on his skin. He actually blocked Tianlin's air sword with his body. The third soul skill, White Tiger Vajra Transformation. Damu Bei cast his 1000-year soul skill at the last moment. Within half an hour of transformation, his resistance to abnormal conditions, attack power, defense power, and strength increased at the same time. Once again, Damu Bei said angrily, "Boy, you really pissed me off. This state is pretty good. It's time for me to introduce myself." Damu Bei's strength under the White Tiger Vajra transformation has surpassed that of ordinary soul sects, and he can be recognized by Tianlin. "My name is Jun Tianlin, and I'm the demon suppressing sword of Wuhan. 45 level assault type war soul sect. Please give me some advice." After saying that, a blue light flashed in Tianlin's hand, and he held the magic sword in his hand. His aura became a bit more fierce, but he only released the martial soul, and not the soul ring, which showed that he still had reservations. Demon suppressing sword. Jun Tianlin? Damu Bei thought of something. "You are the brother Jun that Ning Rongrong calls, but aren't you and Ning Rongrong about the same age? How come you are at level 45? My cultivation speed is a little faster than others, so there's no need to make such a fuss." Tianlin said naturally. Damu Bei felt that Tianlin was showing off. "Do you want to hurry up?" When he was this age, his soul power was only level 25, which was close to 20 levels. He was even a little unconfident. Compared with Tianlin, could the 7 of them from Shrek still be considered monsters? "Hey, now is not the time for you to be distracted. Our battle is not over yet. Be careful. I have the martial spirit in my hand. My attack power is twice as strong as before. I will not lose to your White Tiger King Kong transformation." Tianlin jumped up, raised his sword high and struck Damu Bei hard. "Destroy Yuhan." This is one of Shushnelda's gang slash stunts. He concentrates all his consciousness into the weapon and strikes the ground with all his strength, causing the ground to shake and the mountains to collapse. Damu Bei activated the first and third amplifying soul skills at the same time to resist, but the magic sword at this time seemed to weigh as much as 10,000 pounds, and the suppressed Damu Bei could not move. What a huge power. Is this guy really a soul master with a weapon soul? The first soul skill, entanglement. Just when Damu Bei was about to lose his hold, a piece of blue silver grass suddenly stretched out, tied his waist, and pulled him away from Tianlin's attack range. The people who came over were Tangson and Zhao Wuji, who were the first to arrive after hearing the fighting. "Who are you and why do you want to hurt Mu Bei?" Tangson asked. Tianlin smiled slightly. "Don't you remember me? 6 years ago, we met once. The first soul skill you just performed was thanks to my help, wasn't it? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. Tianlin's purpose of coming to Shrek. "You, who are you?" Tangson looked at Tianlin's face, which seemed a bit familiar, but after all, it had been 6 years, and it was only a one-time relationship. He couldn't remember clearly, but when he saw Tianlin, the blue sword in his hand was impressive. "With this sword, are you the child who saved my teacher and me in the soul hunting forest 6 years ago?" Tianlin nodded. "Not bad. At least remember me as your savior. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jun Tianlin. Zhao. Son, do you know each other?" Damu Bei withdrew his martial soul and asked. He was not injured. Tianlin was merciful. It's just that he used 3 soul skills in a row, and now his soul power was a bit too much. "Wait. Just meditate for a while." "Yes, he was kind to me. How did you get into a fight? Tang San didn't deny it. Although he would retaliate, he would never forget the kindness, but he might not repay the kindness. It depends on Tianlin. Is it of value to him? It just so happened that Tianlin thought the same way. Tang San still had some value to him for the time being, and one of the purposes of coming this time was to get some good things from him. It's a misunderstanding. Tianlin stepped forward and explained. He just heard me say that this college is shabby, and he couldn't hold back his anger. As everyone knows, only outstanding people can make a good place. Whether a place is outstanding does not depend on its luxury, but to see what kind of characters can come out here. After all, isn't there a dragon in the depths of the water? Shrek Academy is guarded by Flanders, the four-eyed cat eagle, Zhao Wuji, the immovable king, and Xiao Xin, one of the top 5 food-based soul masters in the mainland. In terms of teaching staff, it is considered excellent. Damn it, why didn't you say this earlier? You made me think you were here to kick the gym, and you were beaten in vain. Damu couldn't help complaining. If he had understood Tianlin's meaning earlier, he would have been beaten. It's not like I'm going to take action, since it's a misunderstanding. Let's just pretend that we don't know each other until we fight. Tang San acted as a peacemaker, and Damu saw that he couldn't defeat Tianlin anyway, and he was not a guy who refused to admit defeat, so he agreed to let it go. Hearing this, Tianlin also took back the magic sword. Tang San walked up to him and asked, Brother Jun, I don't know why you came to Shrek Academy. If you sign up to join the academy, the enrollment day has already passed. But with Brother Jun's qualifications, the dean may not make an exception. If so, Tang San is willing to help introduce Brother Jun. This time I have no choice but to live up to Brother Tang's kindness. I have already joined the Xiandao Royal Academy. I came here just to meet my little witch who ran away from home. Tianlin said with a smile. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a beautiful girl in green clothes running over. It was Ning Rongrong, who was a step behind Tang San. Brother Jun. Ning Rongrong excitedly threw herself into Tianlin's arms. Why are you here? Seeing this scene, Oscar was completely heartbroken. Ning Rongrong could not pretend to be excited when she saw this young man. She really had a sweetheart. It seemed that his first love was over before it even started. Why am I here? Of course I'm here to find you. You suddenly ran away from home. Do you know how worried I am? Tianlin stroked Ning Rongrong's hair and said in a gentle tone, although he was obviously blaming her when Ning Rongrong mentioned the matter of running away from home, she suddenly remembered something, left Tianlin's arms, turned her back to him, put her hands on her hips. Brother Jun, why are you coming to me? Don't you have many beautiful seniors? Will you accompany me? This girl is still jealous. Tianlin said helplessly, this is all a misunderstanding. Even if all the seniors in the college put together, they are not as important to me as you. I don't want to come to you immediately without even caring about the team's affairs. Yet, hearing this, Ning Rongrong suddenly smiled. The fact that Tianlin found her so quickly proved that he cared about her, which made her quite satisfied. In fact, she was no longer angry when she saw Tianlin appear. It's just that girls need to be coaxed, let alone a little princess like Ning Rongrong who has been pampered since childhood. Tang San and others heard the conversation between the two, and then they realized that Tianlin was the Brother Jun that Ning Rongrong had always mentioned, and the reason why Ning Rongrong came to Shrek Academy was not to become stronger. The psychology of a wealthy young lady who ran away from home purely because of jealousy is indeed difficult to fathom. The visitor was a guest. Tang San and others invited Tianlin into the academy. The inside of the academy was worse than the outside. Except for an open space in the middle and a few sleeping rooms around, there were no teaching facilities. It was unimaginable. This is where the 7 gods appear in the original work. Of course, now that the key to becoming gods, the top quality fairy grass, has been cut off by Tianlin, I'm afraid that most people here have no chance of becoming gods. To say that there is still hope, only Tang San, Ning Rongrong and Oscar. Tang San's talent, even if he doesn't take the fairy grass, is top notch. Even if he can't carry 2 gods like in the original work, it's still possible for an ordinary god to inherit. Ning Rongrong's immortal elixir is still kept in Ning Feng's hands. When she goes back to take it next time, her talent will be even worse than the original point in the final Oscar. Although he does not have the fairy grass, he still has hope of becoming the god of cookery. After all, he is the only food type soul master on the mainland who can become a titled Douluo. However, compared to the original work, he may become a god a little later. A little tougher, needless to say, about the other four. Zhao Wuji is a soul beast. According to the rules of the god realm, it is unimaginably difficult for her to become a god. It is infinitely close to zero. Damu Bei and Zhu Zuking are now ordinary titled Douluo. As former Hanjin, without the coxcomb phoenix sunflower, let alone becoming a god, it is not impossible that he would die one day due to the backlash of his evil fire, or he could completely obey his desires and become an evil soul master under the influence of the evil fire. The purpose of Tianlin's coming here is not only to meet Ning Rongrong, but also for a few of them. Some of them want to be used and suppressed, such as Tang San. As the protagonist of the original work, his luck is too strong. Although Tianlin is not, even if you are hostile to him, you won't kill him, but you can't just sit back and watch him grow to the level of the original work. Otherwise the Qibao glazed sect is likely to be marginalized like the original work point. Although Tianlin was confident that his potential was far greater than Tang San's, he never liked gambling. Therefore, Tang San can be strong, but this level must be within Tianlin's control. Forget about the dual gods like in the original work point. Tianlin had already thought up a strategy to restrict him, and he was here to execute it this time. There are also a few people who need to be won over. If they are willing to follow him, he doesn't mind giving them the fairy grass again. Entering Shrek Academy, you saw a middle-aged man wearing glasses sitting on a recliner and resting. The Shrek 7 Devils class today is in the evening, so Flanders has nothing to do now. Dean. Flender, hello, I'm Jun Tianlin. I have admired the name of the Golden Triangle for a long time. Tianlin stepped forward and said hello. Flanders opened his eyes, turned his head and said, oh, you are Sword Lord, Jun Tianlin. You are here to see Rongrong, right? The academy is simple, so please make it yourselves. He had no intention of entertaining Tianlin at all. He was indeed a very stingy guy, but Tianlin didn't care about this trivial matter. Dean, this is a letter our sect leader asked me to forward to you. Please read it. Tianlin took out a letter from his arms like the original work. Ning Fengzi gave Flanders an imperial edict, telling him that Ning Rongrong should be educated as he should without worrying about his identity, just like other students. Just treat them equally. Flanders took the letter and read it, then nodded and said, I understand. Just go back and reassure Sect Master Ning. Since Rongrong has become my student, I will naturally fulfill my duties as a teacher. Thank you very much, Dean. Tianlin said with a smile. From here on, there is a short group tour, about a dozen chapters. After deceiving the people who should be deceived, the protagonist will have his own adventures. That is, continue to play with himself. Chapter 97 Great Soul Fighting Arena. In the evening, at Flanders' invitation, Tianlin went with them to observe the evening teaching, which was actually to fight souls in the big soul fighting arena and improve their practical experience. This is what Kinming often brings Tianlin and the others to do. In the past few years, Huang Dao's team has tortured the Soul Lord and Soul Sect level teams in Qiandao City. Therefore, now Kinming plans to bring Huang Dao back again. This is the Soto Great Soul Fighting Arena. Tianlin only arrived early because of Rongrong, and the others would have to wait a few days. The Great Soul Fighting Arena is an important place that reflects the value of a Soul Master. It has its own complete system, and it can also be said to be a special force. It was jointly founded by the 7 most famous Soul Master families in the continent. It is not affiliated with the 2 empires or Wuhan Palace. It can be said to be a third-party force, rich enough to rival a country. A Soul Master who becomes famous in the Great Soul Fighting Arena will become a dazzling star in the entire country. Not only can he gain huge benefits, but he can also gain great fame. Moreover, the Great Soul Fighting Arena is a relatively fair place. If the level of martial soul is a symbol of a Soul Master's strength, soul rings are the best way to express it. However, this does not represent the true ability of a Soul Master. The Great Soul Fighting Field tests the actual combat ability, and that is the real strength point after a Soul Master of any level enters the Great Soul Fighting Field. He will only be represented by the word Fighting Soul. After winning the first victory, he will get a badge. After that, every victory won will give him a certain amount of points. When the points reach a certain level, the level of the badge increases. This badge is the symbol of the level in the Great Soul Fighting Arena, and it is common to all major cities in the entire continent. The higher the badge level, the more benefits the fighting spirit will get. The current levels of badges are divided according to the quality of the minerals. The lowest level is the Iron Badge, which is the Iron Fighting Spirit. The upward order is Copper, Silver, Gold, Purple Gold, Sapphire, Ruby, and Diamond, a total of 8 levels. Since Chen Lin participated in the soul fighting, he has basically never lost in either team battles or individual matches, so his current soul fighting badge is not very high, reaching the gold fighting soul level point. As for why it is basic, it is because he deliberately lost to Yu Xianheng and others a few times in duels. This was to control points. Otherwise, once his points were too high, he would not be able to find them. There are still some Soul Sect level gold fighting souls, but the purple gold fighting souls are at least Soul Emperor or above. If Chen Lin entered this level during the Soul Sect period, he would have to face opponents above level 60. Although he was not afraid of him in a one-on-one fight, Yi Lingling and others could not withstand the Soul Emperor's attack during a team battle. Entering the Great Soul Fighting Arena, Damu Bei explained the rules here to everyone, and told them that one of the graduation criteria for Shrek Academy was to reach at least the Silver Fighting Soul level. Silver Fighting Soul, but the third level is very simple. Zhao Wuji didn't look down on it at all. She was still very confident in a duel at the same level. You are wrong to think so. The big soul fighting arena is not that easy to mess with. Damu Bei started participating in soul fighting very early, and has a say in this. I have participated in 56 soul fighting games. At present, record, 29 wins, 27 losses, 2 points. Thanks and knew Damu Bei's strength very well, and couldn't help but be surprised. Mu Bei, with your strength, how is this possible? Nothing is impossible. I participated in the spirit fight at level 29. I was promoted to level 30 after winning only a few games. Later, I met opponents at level 37, 78, and 8. After losing for a while, my points were only relatively low. Damu Bei said helplessly, that's because you are not good enough. My brother Jian also participated in the soul fighting not long after he broke through the Soul Master. Brother Jian, tell everyone about your record. Ning Rongrong looked at Chen Lin proudly, but she knew that Chen Lin created many brilliant achievements when he was in the Xiandao Great Soul Fighting Arena. Hearing this, everyone looked over. Chen Lin smiled and said, 35 consecutive wins for team fighting spirits, 32 wins and 3 losses for double fighting spirits, and 45 wins and 3 losses for single fighting spirits. Because many of them are consecutive wins, they have received additional bonuses. After multiplying the points, the score is now about 6,000, which is at the golden fighting soul level. Monster, you are the real monster. For most people at your age, it would be nice to have a bronze fighting spirit, but you are close to the purple and gold level. Your actual combat ability is too strong. Flanders was shocked. He was stunned. He had never seen such a perverted person before. If Chen Lin hadn't already joined Xiandao Royal Academy, he would have dragged him to Shrek. No matter what. In fact, the entire Imperial fighting team members are now golden fighting spirits. Flanders will be even more surprised when he sees them soon. Since you're here, why don't I also participate in a Tuanta spirit fight? Rongrong, do you want to join me? Chen Lin smiled at Ning Rongrong. Wait, you want to go with Rongrong? You know, the 2 versus 2 spirit fight depends on the party with the high level. Even though Rongrong is only in his 20s, you have already broken through the 40 level, so you two are we may encounter 2 Soul Sect level opponents. Damu Bei warned. Of course I know this. Chen Lin showed a confident smile. It is precisely because of this that I want to be with Rongrong. After all, it is not challenging at all for a Soul Sect to challenge me in a duel. After saying that, Chen Lin took Ning Rongrong to register. This Guy is really confident, but he may have this level. Damu Bei thought of the scene where he was suppressed by Tianlin today. Tianlin didn't use any soul skills. He was no match for him. If it were a place by other, the Soul Sect absolutely cannot do this at the registration office. Tianlin first helped Ning Rongrong register an identity. Pseudonyms are allowed in the soul fighting platform. The name Ning Rongrong chose was the same as the original one, Qibao Liuli Point, and the two soon formed a new combination, the Sword Tower combination point. When the staff saw Tianlin's golden fighting spirit card, they were shocked. There was such a young golden fighting spirit, and it seemed that he wanted to lead the newcomer girl to score points. The staff shook his head. This method is not so easy to use in the big spirit fighting arena point. The 2-on-2 spirit fight will have to wait a while, but the first is the 1-on-1 spirit fight point on the spirit fighting stage. A middle-aged man in a tuxedo was standing in the center. He cleared his throat and said loudly, "Now, the first 1-on-1 spirit fighting in our 14 spirit fighting arena will be held. There will be 2 great soul masters on the stage. They are Zhao Wu, the battle soul master who possesses the beast martial soul soft bone rabbit. He will face off against Qibao, the battle soul master who possesses the beast martial soul lion horndox, who has won 2 games in a row. Let us wait and see whether the great soul master Qibao can continue his glory and win 3 consecutive victories, or whether Zhao Wu, the new fighting soul master, wins. Now, let's invite 2 great soul masters to come on stage." Chapter 98 Target Mahanjan. Zhao Wu is on the stage. The 7 Shrek monsters all looked at the soul fighting platform point. After being familiar with each other for the past few days, they all knew that, although Zhao Wu's martial spirit was not very powerful, combined with his own unique skills such as the soft skills and the rabbit kicking the eagle, Zhao Wu's melee combat skills were definitely not weak point. There were only a few cheers from the audience in the stands, and most of them were cheering for Zhao Wu. Only occasionally a few people shouted Qingbao's name. There was no way, compared with Zhao Wu, a cute little rabbit, Qingbao looked like a bull. There is no advantage at all. Qingbao's martial spirit Iron Hornox is a pretty good beast martial spirit that has both strength and defense. Its weakness is speed. It can be regarded as a weakened version of the powerful Vajra bear. This big guy looks pretty strong. Third brother, can your Zhao do it? Mahanjan sat next to Tang San and asked in a low voice. Tang San smiled calmly, "No problem, just wait and see." Zhao Wu's soul skills are indeed more afraid of power type soul masters, but that must be done if the opponent's soul power far exceeds hers. Soul masters of the same level are no threat at all. Before he could finish his words, Zhao Wu had already taken action over there. Both of them were attack type soul masters, but Zhao Wu and Qingbao were different, in that they focused on offense and defense. Her direction was towards strength and speed point, different from the agility attack type soul master. Zhao Wu's speed is increased by instantaneous explosive power, and cannot be maintained for a long time. The ability to achieve this is all due to her strong leg skills. Zhao Wu bent his legs slightly, took a lunge, and rushed towards Qingbao like a cannonball. With a flick of his long legs, he kicked towards Qingbao's neck point. When Qingbao saw that the other party was a little girl, he didn't take it seriously at first, but at this time, he was caught off guard by Zhao Wu point with one successful blow. Zhao Wu's soft skills came into full play. First, she accurately hooked Qingbao's neck with her right foot. With a smile on her lips, she softly uttered 2 words, "Goodbye." There was a flash of yellow light on Zhao Wu's body, and the soft bone rabbit's first soul skill was activated, Waist Arch, and its waist strength was instantly increased by 119%. With a kick, Qingbao's body flew out of the field uncontrollably. The waist has always been one of the most important sources of power for a person. This breath doubled the strength. Even Tianlin didn't want to force Zhao Wu's kick. Qingbao, whose soul power was lower than Zhao Wu, didn't want to do it at all. Maybe it can be stopped. Zhao Wu wins. The host announced, "This is the fighting experience of a 100,000-year soul beast. It is indeed not simple." Tianlin thought silently. Zhao Wu quickly returned to everyone's side to accept their congratulations. Next, there were several spirit battles. Tang San vs ZHU's Yuking. Tang Hao won easily. Mahanjan and Yu Bei also defeated their opponents easily. At this time, Ning Rongrong quietly leaned next to Tianlin and said, "Brother Jian, the qualifications of these Shrek 7 monsters are not weaker than mine. They don't seem to have sects yet. Can we consider pulling them over?" The current Ning Rongrong is indeed much more sensible than the original. As the young sect master, he often considers the sect. The Shrek 7 devils are all titled Douluo at least, and no sect will reject them. Tianlin smiled and said, "The purpose of my coming here is precisely for a few of them." After saying that, Tianlin stepped forward and said, "The talents and fighting abilities of these guys are indeed excellent. I'm really in for a treat today. Compared to you, we are nothing." Mahanjan shook his head, knowing Tianlin's achievements in the soul fighting arena, but he did not dare to be proud in front of him. "Your name is Mahanjan, aren't you? You are being humble. I didn't expect that your martial spirit is actually the rumored fire phoenix. However, your flames don't seem to be pure. A real fire phoenix should be able to emit the ultimate power." "Hot?" Tianlin asked knowingly, and his first target was Mahanjan. This guy's potential can be said to be second only to Tang Hao among the Shrek 7 monsters, because once his martial soul has completely transformed, he will be qualified to inherit the position of the first level god of fire. If you don't work hard in cultivation, you won't be able to inherit only a second level god point. Although he had been lingering in the Gaolan land in the early stage, it was because there was nothing he could do about the evil fire backlash. He couldn't let himself be burned alive, or degenerate into an evil soul master, or he could make a bolder decision and put himself in someone else's shoes. Tianlin himself couldn't do it. If Mahanjan's situation were placed in Tianlin's case, he would most likely make the same choice as Mahanjan. In order to survive, in order to become an evil soul master, and not to be a eunuch, I had no choice but to go to the Gaolan place to vent my anger later. When the evil fire problem was solved, only Bei Chengxiang was in love. From this aspect, Tianlin felt ashamed, and compared to Mahanjan, he was more like a scumbag. "Yes," the dean said, "that my martial soul mutated incompletely and became an evil fire phoenix. If the evil fire problem is not solved, I will be killed by the evil fire sooner or later." Mahanjan said in a low voice, his martial soul, although powerful, sometimes he would rather be a little weaker than not knowing when he will die. "Well, unless there is a coxcomb phoenix sunflower, I'm afraid." Tianlin looked regretful. "What, you know about coxcomb phoenix sunflower?" Tang Hao was shocked. He didn't expect that in this world. Besides him, there are people who know about coxcomb phoenix sunflower and this kind of fairy grass. Coxcomb phoenix sunflower, what is that thing? Can this thing cure Mahanjan's evil fire? Flanders was very excited. Mahanjan was his direct disciple. He had tried all methods to solve this disciple's evil fire problem. I also asked my best friend, the master, but to no avail. Tang Hao nodded. If it's the coxcomb phoenix sunflower, it might really be able to completely solve Fatty's evil fire problem. It's a fire attribute fairy, a pure yang tonifying herb that can greatly increase the user's soul power. It can also purify flames. Really, great, teacher. We finally found hope, Mahanjan said excitedly. He had been troubled by the evil fire for too long and even dreamed of completely solving it. Flender nodded. Well, Hanjan, don't worry. Even if I spend my whole life, I will find the coxcomb and phoenix sunflower to give it to you. At this time, Ning Rongrong suddenly interrupted in a very tactful way. "Coxcomb phoenix sunflower, Brother Jian, doesn't our Qibao glazed sect's medicine garden now have a plant of this kind of grass?" "What?" Hearing this, everyone looked over. There was no place to look for after breaking through iron shoes, and it took no effort to get it. Unexpectedly, what they longed for was far away and right in front of them. "Rongrong, we have some, but there is only one. I plan to leave this to those who have made great contributions to the sect." Tianlin was very puzzled. "Little friends Tianlin, Rongrong, if you really have the coxcomb phoenix sunflower in your hands, I, Flanders, am willing to pay any price to exchange it. Soul bones, gold soul coins, whatever I have, I can give it to you." Although Rand usually spends nothing, he will not be stingy with this. When it comes to his apprentice's life. Tianlin shook his head. "Dean Flanders, this is not a matter of money. You can ask Tangson how many years it takes to cultivate a coxcomb phoenix sunflower to take shape. Chapter 99 Phoenix joins the sect. Flanders looked at Tang San and heard Tangson helplessly say, if there is a good growing environment, 100 years will be enough. Otherwise, it will take at least 200 to 300 years. This is only the initial shape. To reach the peak of the medicinal effect, it will take more than 100 years. You know how long it will take. You only get one in 100 to 300 years. Flanders was immediately disappointed. Such a precious fairy grass was far more valuable than a soul bone. How could he afford it with such a small fortune? In fact, with the help of the two eyes of ice and fire, it actually won't take that long at all. After the last plant was pulled out by Tianlin, Tianlin left the roots and seeds. It is estimated that it will only take a few decades to take shape again. But Tianlin would not say that the more precious something is, the more benefits it can maximize. Ma Hongjin was completely lost at this moment. He finally saw hope, but the next moment gave him despair. At this time, Tianlin winked at Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong understood and stepped forward to hold Tianlin's arm. Brother Jian, the fat man is now my friend. He is really pitiful. Anyway, that grass is with us. No one in the sect can use it, so why not give it to him? No, this grass is a treasure of our sect. I'm the person in charge of the medicine hall. I will never give the sect's treasure to outsiders, even if you, the future sect leader, give the order. Tianlin sternly refused. Mahongjin said gratefully, Rongrong, thank you for interceding for me, but Tianlin is right. How can I ask for your sect's most precious treasure? Ning Rongrong glanced at Tianlin with admiration. He was indeed his brother Jian. He could deceive others without blinking an eye. What kind of treasure is he picked from Grandpa Dugu's house? There are many other kinds. Tangson could understand Tianlin's thoughts. For example, when he was in the Tang Clan, whoever wanted to ask for their Tang Clan's most precious treasure, the Buddha's furious Tang Lotus, would definitely become the enemy of the entire Tang Clan. There is no reason to give things inherited by the sect to outsiders. Wait, outsider. Tangson suddenly thought of something, walked up to Tianlin and said, Brother Jun, you said that fairy grass cannot be given to outsiders, so if Fatty joins your 7 treasures glazed sect, does that mean he is no longer an outsider? Flender's eyes lit up. Yes, little brother Tianlin, you see, my apprentice has extraordinary qualifications, and he has not joined any sect yet. When he graduates, if I let him join your sect, that coxcomb phoenix sunflower, is it something you can consider? Tianlin was overjoyed to take the bait, but still pretended to be wrong. In this case, it's not impossible, but Hongjin will definitely be treated the harshest when he joins my sect in the future. After all, fairy grass cannot be given to someone without a future. Soul Master, do you think so? Hearing this, Mahongjin's face fell. The most severe treatment. Wouldn't it be very hard to practice? Teacher, actually I think it's good to have some evil fire on my body. I feel comfortable being a free soul master. Flanders slapped Mahongjin on the head angrily. You worthless thing. You only think about being at ease all day long. Although a free soul master is at ease, he may not be able to grow without a protector. You know Qibao, how strong is the Liuli sect? It is a Sword Douluo sect. Now they are willing to train you with all their strength, but you are not willing yet. Besides, among all the sects in the mainland, the Qibao Glazed sect has the best reputation. If you enter there after graduation, I can rest assured. Teacher, Flender advised earnestly. Fat man, do you think I'm pretty? Ning Rongrong suddenly smiled seductively. Beautiful. Rongrong, are you ready to commit yourself to me? Then I won't hesitate and join the Qibao Glazed sect immediately. What Mahongjin can't bear the most is being seduced and betraying his original thoughts without hesitation. At this time, a long blue sword was pressed against Mahongjin's neck. Tianlin was looking at him with a smile, but this smile made people scared. Mahongjin swallowed subconsciously. What? I just kidding. How could I not know that Rongrong belongs to you, brother Tianlin? Of course it's not me, but there are many girls in my family who own the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda. Their appearance is at least a little worse than mine. If you are willing, I can introduce them to you in the future. Ning Rongrong said with a smile. She really didn't fool Mahongjin this time. What the Qibao Glazed Pagoda Spirit Master needs most is a powerful partner. Mahanjan's martial spirit is unique. If he is given the coxcomb phoenix sunflower by Tianlin, his future is limitless, and he will be more than enough to have a direct disciple. Although he is a little fatter, the Douluo Continent does not completely judge his face. When a future title Douluo goes out to wave, a large number of girls will rush to pounce on him. As long as he is sincere, Mahanjan has a very high chance of chasing someone directly. Really, Rongrong? Then I will follow you from now on. You will be my eldest sister. Mahanjan had been persuaded for a long time, and now he no longer had any hesitation. Then, you are welcome to join our sect, Tianlin said with a smile. The coxcomb phoenix sunflower is not with me now. I will give it to you next time I come to the sect. During this period of time, you should take this first. Tianlin took out a bottle of elixir that had been prepared for a long time from his arms. This is the ice soul pill. Every time you have an attack of evil fire, just take one. According to my estimation, the amount here should be able to suppress it for half a year. Above. Really, that's great. Thank you, Boss Tianlin. When I join the sect in the future, you will be my boss. I will rely on you to protect me for the rest of my life. Mahanjan happily took the pill and took one directly. In fact, he was planning to go to Gowland tonight because the battle just now had triggered his evil fire point. After taking the ice soul pill, the cold air spread all over the body instantly, and the desire caused by the overflow of evil fire was immediately suppressed. It's true, teacher. I feel like my evil fire has been suppressed. Mahanjan immediately informed his mentor Flanders of the happy news. Flanders nodded with satisfaction. It's great. The evil fire that has troubled you for many years has finally found a way to remove it, and the teacher can let go of it completely. Congratulations, Fatty. Daimyo stepped forward and congratulated Point. He knew very well how powerful Mahanjan's martial spirit was. If it hadn't been interfered by the evil fire, it would definitely be even worse than his white tiger. As a brother, he was very happy for Mahanjan. Mahanjan said proudly, hey, Boss Day, you will only be the boss in my college from now on. Boss Tianlin will be my boss for life, and Rongrong will be my eldest sister. You fat man who changed his mind when the wind came. Daimyo scolded with a smile. Although the two brothers will be separated after graduation, their friendship does not seem to be diminished. Because of this, after Mahanjan's matter was settled, Tianlin turned to look at Oscar. Oscar, your martial spirit is sausage, a very good food type martial spirit. As an auxiliary type soul master, why don't you also come to the Qibao Glazed Sect? That is an auxiliary type soul. A teacher's paradise. I'll forget it. After graduation, I want to see more places. Oscar refused. He didn't want to see Tianlin being intimate with Ning Rongrong every day. Wouldn't that just rub salt into his wounds? Tianlin could see what he meant, so he no longer forced it. However, he also had his own way to deal with Oscar. Chapter 100 Shushan Baolu. A new chapter. Oscar didn't want to, so Tianlin turned to look at the other people. He had no interest in the remaining ones. It's useless for Tangson to join. This guy only has Tang Clan in his heart. Even if he joins the sect, sooner or later he will betray and establish another Tang Clan. Daimyo and Zhu Zuking were from the Star Luo Empire, and the Star Luo Empire and the Qibao Glazed Sect were actually hostile. After all, the Qibao Glazed Sect supported the Xiandao Empire, but Tianlin, who had read the original work, knew that the Xiandao royal family not a good thing either. The Qibao Glazed Sect has supported the empire for many years, but in the original work, because Emperor Zhu Yi was poisoned by Qian Ringsu and could not wake up for a long time, in order to prevent the situation from changing, Ning Fengzi used special means to stimulate Emperor Zhu Yi's life potential, allowing him to revive as soon as possible. Waking up and taking charge of the overall situation will undoubtedly make his already accelerating depletion of life even shorter. This incident has left a thorn in the side between the Qibao Glazed Sect and the Xiandao royal family. Ning Fengzi took the responsibility of shortening Emperor Zhu Yi's lifespan. After Zhu Ben came to power, the position of national master was taken away by Yu Xiaodagang. Zhang's situation was even worse. If it weren't for Ning Rongrong's relationship, the sect would have been destroyed sooner or later. Tianlin has long made up his mind that the future sect must be so powerful that it will not be attached to any other forces, whether it is Xiandao or Xingluo. Although he will not take the initiative to make enemies, he will never support them again in the future either party. Anyone who dares to touch the Qibao Glazed sect will be killed without mercy. He doesn't want the sect to become someone else's abandoned son one day. Tonight's single player soul fighting match has ended. Next, it's the turn of the double battle. The first one to take the stage is Tang and Zhao. With their tacit understanding and strength, it is almost difficult to find someone who can match them at the same level of point. Naturally, they won easily, but there was a small accident during the battle. The combination they were fighting against was called the Iron-Blooded combination, and the martial arts they used were 2 iron hammers. During the competition, Tang was carelessly hit by a hammer and was slightly injured. This angered Zhao Wuji and aroused the murderous nature of the soul beast in her body. She actually shot the arrows Tang gave to the other two. Fortunately, Tang had quick eyes and quick hands to knock down her silent arrows. Otherwise, the Iron Blood combination would have been 2 corpses after the game. Zhao Wuji supported Tang and walked out. Tianlin saw this and took the opportunity to greet him. He just took this opportunity to show off his cards with Tang and fooled him along the way. Congratulations to Brother Tang for winning the championship. I originally wanted to invite Brother Tang to join my sect, but now it seems that it is impossible. HMPH, you didn't even invite me. How do you know it's impossible? Zhao Wuji put her hands on her hips and said dissatisfiedly. Just now Tianlin invited someone else, but he didn't ask her and Tang. She felt that the other person looked down on them. That's naturally because Brother Tang already has a sect. Although this sect cannot be seen in Douluo Continent, the silent sleeve arrows you just made, as well as Tang San's method when he shot down the sleeve arrows, plus the tricks he used in the game with his footwork, I'm absolutely certain that it must be that sect. Tianlin said with a smile. Tang and Flanders both widened their eyes when they heard this. Flanders was confused. He thought that Tianlin had guessed that Tang was from the Haoshan sect. The Haoshan sect had been hidden from the world and was indeed almost invisible on the mainland, but he had never heard that the Haoshan sect had learned anything. The ability of the silent Zhujian, how did he see it? Tang was different. He was completely shocked. He knew that he didn't exist in Douluo Continent, and yet he could understand his hidden weapon techniques and footwork. Did this person know about the Tang sect? He was just about to ask when he suddenly heard the radio rang. Invite Jindaohan Jingshan and Daohan Liuli to go to the 4th division venue for a soul fight. Jingshan is the pseudonym Tianlin used in the Great Soul Fighting Arena. It is the name of the real owner of the magic sword in the fairy sword game. Liuli is the pseudonym Tianlin obtained for Ning Rongrong. The two put on masks and walk towards soul fighting field. It is necessary to hide one's identity, otherwise geniuses can easily be stifled by interested people. This is what Ning Fengxi taught them. When walking past Tang Tianlin suddenly raised his hand and patted his shoulder. Brother Tang, I'll see you again later and have a good chat with you. If you have Buddha's anger against Tang Lion, no matter what you say, I'm willing to buy it at any price. Buddha is angry with Tang Lion. Hearing this name, Tang no longer had any doubts in his heart. Tianlin must know about Tang Clan. Could he be from the same place as himself? At this time, Tianlin and Ning Rongrong had already reached the fighting spirit stage. Seeing that they were just little babies, the audience was in an uproar. It was normal for one to be an iron fighting spirit, but the other was actually at the gold fighting spirit level. This was too much. You must be a monster. Their opponents were also surprised, but the more so, the less they dared to be careless, because to obtain the golden soul fighting badge at such an age, the actual combat level of the masked boy in front of them was probably ridiculously high. Chen Lin, golden shield of martial spirits, level 46 defensive spirit sect. Li Zhang, martial soul spear, level 45 attack type fighting soul sect. Both of them are around 30 years old. At this age, they are not too bad at this level, but they are not much better either. However, for today's Tianlin and Ning Rongrong, they are still much higher. Their soul rings are not very good either. That Tianlin has the best combination of 2 yellow and 2 purple, but that Li Zhang's first soul ring is white. It's obvious that among the two, Tianlin is the core. Jingshan, Martial Soul Sword, level 45 attack type fighting soul sect, Liu. Li, Wuhan 7 Treasures Liuli Pagoda, 29th level auxiliary system Great Soul Master. After Tianlin introduced herself to Ning Rongrong, she also released her martial spirit. Ning Rongrong's 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda cannot be hidden from anyone, so she only needs to not reveal her real name and appearance. There is no need to hide the rest. 2 circles of yellow. The soul ring flashes around the pagoda point. Tianlin's martial spirit turned out to be a simple long sword at this time. It looked nothing special. Dame Yubei was surprised and said, "Strange. Why is this man's martial spirit different from when he dealt with me this morning? Is it possible? He has twin martial souls, and if he faces 2 soul sects, why don't he release the soul ring? This is too arrogant. No, Boss Day, this is the martial spirit that dealt with you this morning." However, the true appearance of this martial spirit seems to have been concealed by him in a special way. Tang San's eyes flashed with purple light, and he activated the purple demon eyes. Kung Fu, he immediately saw through the true face of Tianlin martial spirit point. In fact, this is something new that Tianlin learned from the Shushan Baolu. After he got the 4th soul ring, the Shushan Baolu turned another page. This time, it was the method of making talismans. He started by learning simple low-level concealment talismans and low-level transformation talismans, and used these 2 talismans for his martial soul and soul ring, so that he could completely hide his identity during the soul fight point. After all, Tianlin is now on the must-kill list of Wuhan Palace. In order to have more time to grow properly, there is no way to be cowardly when necessary. It's a pity that Tianlin doesn't know the 5 spirits immortal technique yet, so he can't make powerful offensive talismans. And the only magic flame flash air slashing talisman that doesn't require immortal magic is too difficult to make, and it can't be batched. Otherwise, Tang San's hidden weapons are not that important. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.